All right, y'all. What's going on?
Are we
Hello,
podcasting?
hello.
We are.
What number?
I counted down from three, two, one, like I
What
always do
number?
when we start.
What number?
84?
83.
83, I believe.
What's happening, Forum?
Everyone's so loud.
You tell me, Bradley. Bradley, you tell me what's happening. What have you been up to?
Oh my fucking god. So, just a day or two ago, I finally finished my Lego set.
Oh, dude, that looked awesome.
Y'all, I got the Lego Ideas Medieval Blacksmith. So Lego Ideas is cool where essentially what they do is people can submit their own like Lego set designs or whatever. And if it gets enough votes or whatever, then Lego will put it under review, and the person who designed the set gets to work with like actual Lego designers, and they'll make it into a real set you can sell out in the world, and the person who made it gets like royalties on it whenever it sells. And so the one I was making, it's cool. In the instruction booklet, they even have like a little bio on the person who designed it. And this, I think they're like a 20-year-old German architecture student, and they were like, I just really wanted to like blend my love for the architecture from this time and countries with my love for Lego and stuff like that. And like, man, you could really tell as you're building the set and just seeing all the details that go in on the building and shit.
That is so cool that they just let people, and like that they also highlight the people who made it. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, and it's just like, I don't know, man. You get really impressed building these sets because it's kind of the same feeling I get watching like a really good speed run of a game I played a lot when I was little or something, or like maybe fighting games or something, where it's just like you take something that was an idle curiosity when you were little, but then you see like what the extremes of it are for people who have like dedicated their life to getting good at it. And that's kind of what these Lego sets are. I'm just like, holy shit, these people are so like, they use pieces for things they weren't originally intended for to just make the coolest designs ever, which I guess is what Lego is all about.
So Bradley, I'm really glad you told me about this because I didn't know what that was. Lego Ideas.
Yeah,
I also just did a Lego's Ideas set this week.
Yeah,
and
that was the Galileo, right?
Yeah, the promo Galileo set. I got over Christmas time. And this is my question I'm going to ask you. What was a step or piece used in an interesting way that you haven't experienced before?
Man, I'm trying to think of man, dude, the tree on this thing was really interesting because the way they did the tree trunk, God, I don't even know how I would describe it. They do, because Lego likes to do a lot of really interesting things where they'll reuse pieces from last sets in different colors for like, for example, I did like one of the Lego flower sets because they have all these botanicals or whatever. And so like they'll use a frog and color it purple and put it up here, like in the stamen of the plant or something like that. Or they'll take like, this is a dinosaur egg in the Jurassic World set, but over here it's actually colored green and it's like a bud on this plant. And I'm having a hard thinking of like one they did with that on this set where it's like take something that's like a frog or an egg and make it into something else. I don't know if they did a lot of that on this set. This one is just like really efficient use of space. Because like on some of the furniture, like the bed, they wanted to make a really intricate design, but it's like, how do you do that with a bunch of 1x1 pieces? So it's just cool how they took like a bunch of the smaller pieces and made them fit together in such a tight spot.
Nice. I had a really interesting brick I liked on mine. It was a like probably one of the older style like benches, you know? It's like a 1x2. Yeah. And it has like an L that comes off the backside of it. So those were used, so there's a back wall and then there's two side walls that are on hinges that can swivel. But on the edge of those walls that can swivel, there's like a pointed triangle piece. And that pointed triangle piece goes into the backside of those L-shaped 1x2s. And it prevents it from moving backwards or forwards on those hinges. And it's how they were able to make those walls on those angles to kind of make like this backside to a curved office.
I had that happen with some of the like Harry Potter sets I made that have a lot of moving parts. Like sometimes they'll have you put one little piece down and you're like, that's really weird. Why is this rando ass piece here? And then like, I don't know, 20 pages later in the instruction booklet, I finished this moving part and I'm like, oh, that keeps this particular thing from moving too far or some shit like that.
It's really cool how they're doing like nothing is really symmetrical anymore with Legos that I'm learning, and it throws me off because I'll be like, oh yes, it's symmetry. I do it on this side the same I do it on the other side. And it's like, nope, fuck you, you're stupid.
Yeah, no, like sometimes it'll say like to make two of one thing, but then this part is slightly different, and I'm like, why would they even be different? And then you're like, oh, because that needs to attach to this.
Oh.
But also, aside from that, in terms of like kind of like little things I've been watching, number one, still going slowly on Ted Lasso. It's like my laundry show, so I'll only watch like 1 or 2 episodes a week while I fold laundry. But it's funny because like the other day, I think Joe said he was watching some season 1 episodes, and he's like, "Damn, dude, these characters are unrecognizable. What a crazy show." And I was like, "That's how I feel in season 2 already. Like just coming from season 1." Like some of these characters are already like at where I thought they might be at the end of the show. And so I'm like, it's kind of exciting knowing like, oh, these characters are going to continue to grow. Like there's more stuff in the future for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's like a very dense show. Like they've already gone through so much, but
well paced. Good pace.
Very well paced. And other show, very short. It's only 4 episodes. Y'all, Pokemon Concierge came out, which I was very excited about because just so few places have the balls to do stop motion animation these days.
Yeah.
And God, it is a very, very pretty show to look at. I really hope they do more stop motion or this influences people to make more, stop motion. And also like, it's just a fun little Pokemon story. This really feels like I don't know, Pokemon's what, 30-something years old, and I don't know, there's not enough glimpses into just like what is life like for just an ordinary person in the Pokemon world sometimes, and that's kind of what this is.
Oh man,
I want to watch this. I want to watch this so bad.
It's very cute.
Is there a chance of a season 2, you think, or do you think it's a one and done?
I don't know, cause like, I don't know, would they renew a show that only had 4 episodes? And like, I guess it just depends if it does well. Cause here's the thing, like, it's not a very plot heavy show. Like at the end of the day, there's not like a central conflict. It's just kind of like people in Pokemon doing cute people in Pokemon things.
Do you think they could make like an anthology series like Pokemon Cash Register? Like, I don't know, like
they could do
Pokemon like retail.
That sounds sick. That sounds so good.
Like they definitely could do more with this. And like they've already made so many different of the Pokemon models. It's like, hey, you could just reuse some of it.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Man,
like 4 episodes, like, there's not enough like story there to get like super invested because they weren't trying to tell like a super deep story. But I will say some of the episodes, like episode number 4 was actually really touching. I teared up a little bit.
Nice. I need to support this. This seems great. It's nice to see Pokemon doing new things.
Yeah.
Speaking of new things, who else wants to talk about new things that they experienced in a quick fashion?
New things
Joe,
that I experienced.
Sounds like you have some things.
A few things. Nothing too drastic. My life is in upheaval at the moment, so
yeah.
I'm trying to bring up our list.
The Great Joe upheaval arc.
Yes.
Joe drew an event card. He got orphaned.
Yeah, I did. I got perilled. I watched The Bear because Willer is not doing so.
Soon, maybe. Hopefully.
It's a really, really good show. I wasn't expecting it to be a hard drama like Breaking Bad is not that. It's a comedy.
It is a comedy.
Breaking Bad is also a comedy. You guys don't get it.
Breaking Bad is also a comedy, but also like it. I would say there's more drama to it than comedy.
Okay.
Overall.
I don't know, man.
Like
there's that scene of Jesse inflating his own suit while he's waiting for Walt to get back.
Yeah, that's still fine, but like people aren't dying in The Bear or anything
So far.
so far. But the bear is about a restaurant that's being run by this chef that came from a high established restaurant. That's all I'm gonna go from there.
I was just about to say I've avoided spoilers somehow on this show, even the premise.
Yeah.
I don't want to know anything. Let's just keep
Spoiler. It has 2024's sexiest man alive.
That guy's pretty handsome. The main guy.
Yeah.
That guy is super handsome.
Yeah.
That guy is weirdly ripped. It's kind of frightening.
He's got the cheaty thing going on.
Yeah.
He was getting ripped in Shameless.
Oh, is he from Shameless too?
Yeah, he was in Shameless from start to finish.
I bet he's gonna pop the fuck off.
He's the Calvin Klein model. He's like all over magazines that women ogle over.
Ooh.
But really good show. There's an episode called Forks, which may be one of the greatest episodes of television I've ever watched.
Well, that's high praise.
It's like I was sitting there like just entranced the whole time. It was incredible. I really, really love it. Tyler, have you seen this show?
Not yet. It's on my watch list because I know I would like it. I'm trying. It's not a priority or anything.
That's
right
fair.
now.
I got a lot of also Ted Lasso vibes, but not like it. It will make sense when you watch it, but like I was just feeling like, oh, this is still giving me some like themes or growth that Ted Lasso characters go through, which I really, really liked. Last night I watched Rise of the Planet of the Apes, which I had not seen since.
Which one is that?
That's the third, right?
That's the first one of the new reboot series.
Oh, first
that's
one.
a good one.
They're all good. They're all good.
Just Rise and then Dawn.
It's Rise, Dawn, and War. Okay, so I saw Rise in high school, and I was just like, it's just a bunch of movies about monkeys. I don't get it.
Man.
They're apes, bro. That's racist.
Apes strong together, by the way.
Yeah. Yes, Apes Together Strong. So I rewatched, and then I saw a preview for Kingdom of the Planet of Apes earlier this week.
Oh, is that new?
And,
that's new, right?
That's the newest one. Yeah.
Okay.
And I was just like, I should give those movies a try because I know they got high praise. I watched Rise, really good. I fell asleep halfway through Dawn because I was just like physically exhausted. Dude, but Dawn is fucking incredible.
The second one is so fucking good.
Yeah, oh man, that movie was crazy.
Yeah. I don't remember a lot from it. I just remember loving it.
It's crazy because it's like I can't think of another movie where your main character is not a actual human being as a character, if that makes sense.
Yeah, he's a chimp, and it's not even it's not. He's a chimp.
Caesar is just a fucking S tier. Tyler brings a good point. If we start doing this, we'll list 100 movies.
Every Pixar movie ever made.
So let's not go down this road because
I mean like a live action movie, not necessarily like animated, but like a live action serious drama movie. Like it's just like that's a really hard thing to pull off, I think.
Oh yeah. I don't think Cats and Dogs did it really well compared to the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah. But that's kind of all it. I've had a lot of other things to talk about, but nothing worth.
Something's going on with Joe's mic where that laugh he just did sounded like demonic to me.
I know. He pulled off a Seth Rogen laugh. I thought it was well done.
Good job, Joe. Good self.
Thank you.
Aside from that, you sound great.
Yeah.
So I spent this is our first podcast after the holidays. I spent the holidays in California. I got to go to a couple national parks. Fun stuff. I visited the oldest McDonald's in the world. It was the second McDonald's ever built.
Did you cry?
I did not.
Oh man.
And if I did, it was gonna not be for the reason that you would think.
Oh no.
It was really depressing.
Oh
shit. Not about modernism or anything about everything's fucked. We all rely on diabetes fueled consumerism as a source or anything, but it's visiting that and that also ties in with the movie The Founder, which let me talk about that for a second and then we'll combine the two. The movie The Founder is about McDonald's and it's about Ray Kroc, who has been the founder of McDonald's, which what he did is he found the McDonald brothers and then created the franchise McDonald and kind of established the concept of franchising fast food. Wow. And he was kind of the progenitor of the business of fast foods across the entire globe, which you can be famous for, sure. But it's really weird because I went to the McDonald's museum and it's all about Ray Kroc. It's about him franchising it, like all like the groundbreaking stuff he did, the story behind Ray Kroc, the legend, you know?
But not the actual people who he franchised?
Correct. And the movie does show glimpses of them. And the movie, the movie is still a celebration of Ray Kroc and everything he does, but it shows the trial and tribulations and tries to, like, show him struggling, you know? And I'm like, they really, like, even with movie drama surrounding, like, the troubles he's going through, I still see him as the fucking bad guy. Like, the main character is the bad guy, and, like, going in the museum kind of justifies it, like...
I would assume that was the plot of the movie.
It's not. No, the plot of the movie is him not being a bad guy.
That's,
It's really not. Why would McDonald's allow a movie like that to come out like he's the bad guy?
Yeah.
It's weird. It kind of, and what depressed me about it is, like, fast food was never meant to be what it is now. The McDonald's brothers really just wanted to kind of serve some good, quick, cheap hamburgers to people really quick, you know? And people back in the day weren't addicted to shit like they are now, like with all the sugar and extra shit in it. Like, no, they were just actual beef patties with cheese, and they were making them really quick. And it was just like you would make at home, but it was really quick. And it's just... it was a little depressing. It made me sad.
That's a bummer.
To see where it started and know where we are and know what was taken. Because, like, there is nothing about the McDonald's brothers, like, hardly anywhere, like, at all.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's really insane. Like, they pretty much invented, like, the fast food kitchen. And they just got fucking nothing for it.
Bro.
Insane.
Yeah.
They got Zuckerberg.
Yeah, this is giving.
It really, yeah, big vibes.
I mean, that's a lot of business ventures. You see, like, some people just get erased out of history, and the people who take over.
McDonald's today is the definition of capitalism. Like, that is pure. You find someone who has a great idea, steal it, sell it, fuck them.
Yeah, those golden arches represent everything at these points.
Every time I eat a McDonald's cheeseburger, I thank the McDonald's brothers for what they've created.
You know what? You know what? Genuinely, that's all they could ask for. I'm sure, like, they would actually be thankful someone's thinking of them as they're eating their highly bastardized idea.
May they rest in peace.
R.I.P. Oh yeah,
I was just about to look up if they're dead.
They're probably super dead.
They're super dead.
Yeah.
They died of a heart attack.
But they went to the good place.
In different states.
Wait, they died of heart attacks?
Maurice McDonald died from heart failure.
Oh, dude, this is some fucking...
died from heart failure.
This is some Scott Dolph or whatever you were saying conspiracy shit. Like this.
Joe, when did they die though?
Maurice McDonald died
age
69, 1971.
Nice.
Richard died 1998 at age of 89.
Wow.
Yeah. But one went a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
And then one lived his full life. Like
we know which one was eating the hamburgers on lunch break. That's a terrible joke, but
yeah, it's all right.
That is a bit of sad irony, though. All things considered. Okay.
Yeah.
I watched a movie that I guess we're not gonna include in the GIGA movie block.
I might have missed it in the thousands of things I had to parse through.
I could talk about something else if we want to include it in the mega movie block.
We may, but I don't know what it is. So I just.
I have been watching an anime. Sure. Yeah.
That's for later. You're watching an anime.
I've been watching an anime called MF Ghost.
Okay.
MF Ghost is a sequel to Initial D.
What?
Whoa.
Yes. Done by the same artist in his really wonky, like, eyes style. Like, it is what it is, I would describe as peak 90s dramatic anime style. But it's been modernized. It looks pretty damn good. Like, I'm all right with it. And to even top it all off, they kept the racing scenes in 3D, but it's new 3D. It's crazy how far we've come as like society now.
That's cool.
It is cool. I like it. I'm enjoying it.
Is it really a sequel or is it a spiritual successor?
No.
It's a sequel.
It is a direct sequel.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
Throw that in the list of all the anime we've ever watched for later.
Yeah, it's cool. The main character is a guy from England who is traveling to Japan to try and find his lost father after his mother has passed away. So instead of using his English racing name, he is going to use his like family name from Japan to try to become a famous racer to get his dad to come out of hiding or to find his dad. Yeah. It has a lot of characters mentioned from Initial D. A lot of the characters that I've seen so far, if spoiler anybody cares about it. The main one is Ryosuke Takahashi, I believe is the name. He is the guy who finds Project D in Initial D, which is like the racing team that's formed in like late seasons 2, 3, and 4. It's like the latter half.
I've never seen Initial D, so I'm just like, all right.
He's the like
he's the Nick Fury. Of
No. He's the Kaiba of racing, but he's not a he's not a cunt though.
Oh, then nah, he's just a guy then.
He's like the tilts up glasses like character.
Gotcha. He's smart but not cunty.
Yeah. So he's the guy who made the racing that they do in Japan, and they actually have like a premise for like how they do street racing because it's modernized. It's like 2023 day and age. So like there was like this volcano that exploded in Japan, and so like all the towns surrounding the volcano have like gases and they're uninhabitable and stuff in certain parts. So just like the entire villages surrounding the volcano just like are ghost towns now, and that everybody has left. So they use it as like a racetrack, and they have like drones that fly behind each car so they can get like Mario Kart views of all the cars and like live stream them to the world. It's super neat. What they've established as a concept. So I like that. Watch it in English. Pretty good.
Nice. I can pick up from there. Yeah. Played some video games. This was closer to like right after we did Game of the Year. There was 2 DLC that came out in that time for games I was playing.
Yeah.
And also Granblue Fantasy Versus, which actually I'll start with that because it's a little different. That's the new fighting game, the new Granblue game. I picked it up. It's fucking great. I don't have much time to play it, but it's just a really fun game to play. It's way better than the original Granblue.
Yeah.
Like I remember, Joe, one of the things that we would say about the original Granblue, it's like, okay, so you have this meter, and the only resource management you have is get to 100 and do super. Like that was in the vanilla version of Granblue. That's all they had, and they changed that since. But no incentive to go back because also no rollback netcode.
Rollback. Yeah.
This game has plenty of cool ways to use your meter, and the characters are really fun. Got a very annoying Arxis lobby, but whatever, because you can just go play ranked. So hopefully ranked stays healthy as I get back to this game, which is kind of a problem with anime games. Especially given,
just go ahead. Sorry.
Especially given all the games that are coming out, which I'll talk about in a second. I'll also talk about God of War Valhalla, which was the one DLC that I played. This is the God of War DLC that came out. It was free, which is insane because this DLC is really good, really meaty. I think it should really be a staple that any game with good combat should just get a DLC patch one day, like it's or like a roguelike patch, which is what this DLC is. It turns God of War into a roguelike, which is fucking sick. Hades.
It's not like a complicated roguelike either. It's pretty straightforward, all things considered.
But I feel like also because I only played the initial go, I feel like a lot of stuff unlocks after you beat the game, but I haven't gotten to it. I don't know how much post story you've done in the DLC, Joe.
None.
Yeah, I got the sense that there was a ton to unlock.
Yeah.
More importantly, God of War combat, you just, when you don't have all the story to kind of bog it, like, not bog it down, but Ragnarok did have some pacing issues, but, like, when you're just go combat, you're reminded of, like, how heart-pounding that combat can be. So it's really fun.
It was super good. And then, like, the additions of, like, the Greek stuff also just made me super happy as someone that has played the original God of War games, like all of them basically. So just seeing those, like, enemies again and finding them again, and like a lot of the finishers are the same finishers they used in the previous games.
That's cool.
Was really, really cool. They unfortunately did not put in, like, the two most gruesome ones, which is you rip out the Cyclops' eye in the original game, so you put in your back pocket because it's an actual, like, upgrade item you need, so you have to go hunt those guys down. The other one is, like, for the centaurs. Have you seen any old God of War kills, Willer?
It's been forever.
So the old centaur kill was, like, Kratos would, like, grab them, like, by their spears and toss them down and just disembowel them in the stomach, and all their entrails would fall out and everything. It was really gruesome, and they were like, that's a bit too much, and high fidelity graphics.
It's funny because the new games have the werewolf kill where you take the lower jaw of the werewolf and rip off like his entire front, and I'm like, oh.
So, I totally forgot that enemy existed, by the way.
Oh, that was like getting to fight, because you know what's also fun? I didn't do it. I played only the main campaign of Ragnarok, so I got to do all the skills, all the abilities, and fight all the enemies that you don't get to fight generally because they're just, like, spread around in the DLC, which is, like, perfect. I did the right thing not spending time on, like, the post-game content back then because this was great.
I'm still shocked that this DLC was free. Like, they could easily.
I'm definitely submitting it for Game of the Year because it definitely deserves being ranked.
Also, story stuff, super good.
Yes.
I was like, great.
Oh,
Love
no,
it.
like, arguably, like, just, like, as a little piece of content, it's more flawless for me than God of War Ragnarok. I mean, it's a much smaller scope, but, like, for what it is, it's executed perfectly. Man, Kratos is such a good character.
Yeah.
So is Mimir. I missed them.
Yeah.
I also played the Final Fantasy 16 DLC, which is the first of two. Now, this was not free, which really goes to show you how good the God of War DLC is for being free. This is like a bonus chapter, but it's weird because it happens before the ending of the game.
It's the Leviathan, right?
No, so that would be DLC 2, unfortunately. So I think that'll be the Meteor one. This one is... It was really good, but it was, like, pretty short. It's just like you have this big tower you have to climb, so it's like a really fairly difficult dungeon. A lot more difficult than anything in the base game. The last boss in it is quite tough, with a really exciting, like, final sequence. But it's really just lore for the Fallen, which was, like, the ancient race in the Final Fantasy 16 lore. So that was pretty cool. But I'm more excited for the second DLC, which seems to have, like, a new icon fight, new abilities for you to do, so, like, a lot bigger of a DLC. I was referring to it earlier, but there's a lot of good video games coming out pretty much this week and the next, and I will be on vacation that time.
Oh, yeah.
So
I will be poor, so...
Yeah, well, two sides of the coin, huh? And yeah, I really there's like 5 of them I want to play. 2 fighting games, and if you're not there in the first week of a fighting game, you snoozed, you lose. So
what fighting games coming out? Oh, Tekken
and Unist, and then which weirdly enough I'm more excited for Unist, which I know I'll be able to play plenty of Tekken, but it's like the Unist is anime as it gets, so I want to try that out.
That's the Symphony, not Symphony of the Night, but the Moon.
Under Night. No, that's Melty Blood.
Melty Blood. Okay, it's not Melty Blood.
It's not
Gotcha.
Melty Blood. It's
Okay.
by the same studio.
Okay.
And yeah, like those come out, but then also Persona 3 and Yakuza 8 come out, so it's like,
Yeah.
oh my fuck. Those games, I don't know. I'm just never going to be able to beat them because by the time I'm like halfway through one of them, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is going to come out. So I am just screwed. So yeah, like, but I do get to go on vacation, so at least I will be doing fun things during. My family just got in today. They're in America for the first time. I'm not hanging out with them right now because I am recording this podcast. So maybe after I can see them, but either way, I'll be with them until next week or start of next week or the one after, the next Monday after. Anyway, and then I'm halfway through Chucky season 2. I decided to do this instead of the bear because I don't know. From going from Yellow Jacket to what seems to be peak fiction might be a little bit too much of a jump. So
you gotta on ramp yourself up there.
Yeah, I'm ramping up with Chucky. This show is so fucking fun, and also there's a season 3 out, I believe. So I have a lot of Chucky to watch. This I really want Tyler to watch this show because it is so fun.
What's it on?
I think Sci-Fi? Is that a thing? Sci-Fi?
Nah.
Yeah, it's on Sci-Fi and USA Network.
USA. It's on USA Network.
I'll just hop on the boat.
I remember you talking about season 1, and I was surprised. Like, it sounds like this is actually a pretty interesting show.
It's interesting. It's so stupid, but it's also like really good at the same time. Like, it's very camp, and it knows it, and it revels in it. But like, it's made by the guy who made the original Chucky's. Like, how many horror series are still like getting content from the original visions of like the original people, and it's still good apparently compared to the other stuff. It's better than a lot of Chucky content from what I can gather. I don't know anything about Chucky aside from the premise, which I think is a fine way to go into the show. You'll get it. Like, all you need to know is that Chucky is a killer doll who is possessed by a serial killer by doing voodoo magic. There's also a woman Chucky, who was someone who wanted to possess the body, like it was a killer doll, but she wanted to possess the body of Jennifer Tilly, the actress. So the actress Jennifer Tilly is a character who is a villain. Who, like, it's so complicated to explain, but Jennifer Tilly is a real person in this show who is herself, but herself is taken over by a evil doll. They have 2 children. They're both non-binary. One's Glenn, the other is Glenda. I vaguely remember Glenn, I think, from one of the movies I watched as a kid. And that's basically it. A bunch of people got killed by this doll. He's an urban legend. They made a movie about him, and Jennifer Tilly is a real person. So, in this season, the main characters, in the first episode, the main character lost his family in the first season, so he's in a foster family, and his foster brother finds a Chucky doll, and the Chucky doll gives him a bomb. And then the brother blows himself up, and the kids get sent to a church school where Chucky, the real person, grew up. So they're like, it's got like a ton of like just religious commentary as they're in this like, this school led by nuns and pastors and stuff to like it's like correctional facility, at the same time. And then Chucky, last season, split himself like a Horcrux into 72 other Chuckies. So it's like, at any point, any single Chucky doll is the same dude, but they all have like their own personality. So like, it's a hive mind of Chucky, I guess. I don't know how to explain this shit. But then like, in the stupidest plot point yet, the kid is like, wait, what if we reprogram Chucky? So they like put him through torture where like they tie him down and force him to watch a bunch of violence to make him sick of violence. And I'm like, this is so stupid. It's Chucky. It's not gonna work. But it does. It resets his brain, and then you have a good boy Chucky. But then a second Chucky gets delivered to the facility. But this Chucky is ripped. Like, he has his shirt off, and he has abs. And, like, he took a bully, and he, like, shoryukened him from the ground, and, like, blood flew everywhere. And then he punches the bully's heart out through his chest.
Jesus.
Chucky does not have super strength, by the way. You can punt him like a little shit doll, which they do in this season. It's hilarious. But this Chucky has like super strength because he worked out, I guess. I don't know, but that's not even the weirdest part. The latest episode I watched is akin to that Barry episode with the insane child in season 2.
Oh yeah.
Where you're just watching, it's like, what the fuck am I watching? I think I had to pause the episode by myself and just repeat that to myself because I'm like, I had to stop and try to understand what's happening. So basically, Jennifer Tilly has her children coming to visit, and she, oh my god, there was a woman called Nika in one of the Chucky movies who apparently is also possessed by Chucky. So it's this really hot girl who's also Chucky, but is like has a split personality who's Chucky. Anyways, they cut off her limbs last season, and like she's just being wheeled around in a ball gag as like this limbless, like poor soul trying to escape. And anyways, she's trying to hide that from her children as she's hosting a dinner party, basically, with a bunch of just random people who are playing themselves in the show, but they're really horny for Jennifer Tilly. And it's just so bizarre. I can't even... But then the episode's framed by Chucky doing like a Oprah show where he's telling people the story of what happened that night. And then like a WWE actress shows up and she's like, Chucky, my dream was to get murdered by you. And then she gets murdered on the episode. Like, I don't know. I don't do it justice. It makes no sense. It's bizarre. That's only episode 4 of the season, so I still have 4 episodes of nonsense to go. Anyways, we'll move on to, I guess, other things to hopefully wrap this thing up before 10 p.m. Joe, I'm going to force you to have to do a quickie since you got to talk about Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 in the Game of the Year. But you did beat that, so if there's anything you want to say about that, speak your piece.
Game's good. Play Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3 in that order. Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. I got nothing else really to say about them. I think we said our piece in our Game of the Year segments, but playing for the first time, they're really, really good. MGS2 is even more relevant today than it was in 2001.
Yeah.
2001
video game.
Yeah, I am not looking forward to the remake. I think it's just I don't know how they're going to capture what that game was like, especially when you don't have Kojima.
Joe's
working
referring
on
to
it.
Metal Gear Solid 3 remake, which is now one of Joe's favorite games because it's the Joe game.
Yes, it's so true.
It's also one of my favorite games because it's just the shit. So.
Yeah. I still think that me and Will discussed this, but they should remake Metal Gear 1 and 2.
Not
or
Solid
have it be like
1
a
and 2.
super game.
Yeah, like Metal Gear, the one that no one plays, even me, because you just jump to Solid 1 and go from there.
Yeah, because I think then you kind of end up closing the loop and you're able to connect all the stories together in a much more enjoyable fashion, I guess. But that's it. That's all I got for those.
Alrighty. What is Shangri-La Frontier?
Shangri-La Frontier is an anime you've seen about a guy running around with just underwear on and a bird mask. He's got the head of a bird.
I have not seen this.
This is not exactly what I would describe as garbage anime. This is not a trash tier. It doesn't do anything out of the water, but it's just fun to watch. It's about a guy who's a gamer. It's not an isekai. He just likes playing a shit ton of video games. He lives with his completely normal family. He has a sister that doesn't like him, a mom that isn't in love with him and is obsessed with her entomology job, researching bugs and stuff. Mm-hmm. And his dad is just is alive and likes to go fishing a lot. Like, super weird, and he just plays a lot of VR games. One of his best friends that he plays VR games with is a pro gamer, and they just do a bunch of shenanigans online. He plays, so the main character is called a trash gamer, and he goes around and tries. It's like he goes onto Steam and goes through all the shitty games that have been made and tries to find the biggest budget shit tier games ever made and tries to beat them. And he's like, yeah, sometimes they have bugs where like enemies are underneath the ground and they can hit you and they're invisible enemies and shit. And so like he has to beat the game and fight the invisible enemies. So he eventually goes to play something called Shangri-La like Frontier online or something. Which is a AAA game. It's like the Final Fantasy 16 of the world. But it's in VR. And he just goes around and starts playing it. And he starts finding stuff that people haven't found yet because it's a new game. And it's still really popular because he's doing a stupid build that nobody's done before. It's pretty cool. I think it's like they try to set up a world that's based on bosses like as if it was like VR Monster Hunter. But then like has public shit like Final Fantasy and I don't know. It's just like a nice fantasy anime that's more about like if this game was real, that would be cool. But I really like the English dub. They do a good job. They use a lot of modern slang in the English dub.
Nice.
He says poggers at one point.
He would say poggers.
Yeah. But it's not too terribly cringy either. Like I'm just having fun watching it and English and dub to boot. Like I don't know. I just threw it on. Wasn't expecting much. Wasn't disappointed.
There is one DLC. Sorry, I'll let you finish.
No, go ahead. I'm done.
Oh, sweet. Okay, well, there's one DLC I forgot because you mentioned English dub. I played... So, Lost Judgment is my favorite Yakuza franchise game, and I never played the DLC.
Mm-hmm.
But with Yakuza 8 coming out, I was like, yeah, I can slot this in, I guess. That's a really good DLC. It focuses on... in those games, you play Yagami, the detective, and he has a detective friend called Kaito, who's more like the heavy. But this one's focused on Kaito because I might never see Yagami again, even though he's my favorite character, because the actor works for a company who Japanese companies are really notorious for being very stingy about what their actors get to do. And because people took Judgment models and made the actor do funny shit, they're like, I don't know if you should be doing this anymore.
Oh.
It's really upsetting if I don't get to see my favorite character.
What?
Yeah, no, it's absurd. So they focused the DLC on Kaido Kaido rules. He's so cool. And I played it in the dub, which is like not something you usually do for the Yakuza games. It was just on by default. I know with 7 I would switch on and off to see, and like that was a good dub. And it was just really good. So it's just, speaking of good dubs, and that is just a really good story. That game rules. And now I have cleaned my plate completely, including that little short. It's like a 6-hour DLC, which was like kind of what I wish the length of Yakuza Gaiden was. Like I wish Gaiden was like maybe 8 hours as opposed to like the 18, because it was a little padded. But it was
to jump on the things I forgot about straight. I also and Willer will hate me for this. I restarted Yakuza 0 earlier this week. Mainly because I booted it up. I was like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. I
told you to play it. I was like, Joe, your life's in shambles. It's time.
Yeah. But yeah, I started playing that again. But I'm not very far into it. I'm only on like chapter 2 right now.
Okay, so has Kiryu drop kicked that dude through the window yet?
I think so. I went and fight Kuze, one of the lieutenants already.
Yeah, okay, he did. That was the moment where I knew that this series was for me.
Okay.
Man,
that's funny.
Kuze rules. Yeah. All right. Joe has this was so confusing, a podcast block, but I don't know if it's about podcast or just like... Yeah. Okay. You made it. You made this more complicated than it needed to be.
All right. Don't know how I did. I just called it Joe Needs a Podcast. And these are the 3 things I listen to. I've been looking for just a podcast that isn't us. Because I just need something to listen to, and I didn't want like a D&D comedy podcast, and I didn't want like I don't like true crime podcasts. I really don't. They're just very boring to me. What I like is just like people talking to each other and discussing things. Very akin to like the Rooster Teeth podcast from years and years and years ago,
which is our genre.
Yeah. So it's like, we're going to rattle these off real quickly. The first one, Morning Somewhere, is actually by Bernie Burns, the former CEO and founder of Rooster Teeth. Him and his now wife, Ashley Burns, live in Scotland, and he's just like, I just wanted to make a quick morning podcast to do on the weekdays that we can do while we are waiting for they have 2 very young sons, while their sons are like away at preschool, that we can sit down and have coffee and we just discuss.
Is that Ash, like from Hey Ash, what you playing? Do you remember?
No, that's not Ashley Birch.
Okay, okay. There's only 3 Ashes, I guess.
Yeah.
Is that Ash like Ketchum or?
No. But basically the podcast is just him and his wife, and they just kind of discuss the headlines for like 20-30 minutes. It really is just like a podcast you throw on when you wake up in the morning as you brew your cup of coffee and just kind of listen to what they have to say about the world and things. Bernie Burns is just, to me, like he just gets angry at the most random stuff, and it makes me laugh every single fucking time. So it's just like, all right, this is good. The problem is that it's 20 minutes. There's not a lot of substance to it. It's just like people to listen to while you get your coffee brewing. The next on this list is Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. I have not seen any of Conan O'Brien's like late night talk show stuff. I know people are really big fans of him, and he's got like his own little culture base. But like, I don't like talk shows. So, but I was just like, I need something to listen to, and I saw a clip of him talking to this guy that had a bit where he acted like he didn't know that Jeffrey Epstein and everything that he did, sort of thing.
I might have seen a clip of this actually.
Yeah, Jeffrey Epstein, the financier.
The one with the island.
Yeah. I would know if he was dead.
Yeah, I don't think so. But yeah, so surprisingly, Conan O'Brien, who wrote my favorite season of The Simpsons, is actually really funny. Who would have guessed? I really like his podcast. He's got some really good guests, and he just somehow comes off and gets great chemistry to everyone he talks to. And his staff, he has like 2 or 3 other staff members that like sit in the room with him and ask questions and just kind of like bounce off of. And I think Conan realizes that like you just need a good solid group that can carry a conversation with somebody, and you can get some good content out that way. But like, he just did a podcast where he interviewed Joe Biden at the White House. And I haven't listened to that entirely, but he also had another one where he talked to Wyatt and Kurt Russell, which star in the Godzilla TV series that I need to watch. And they play the same character. Kurt Russell's son Wyatt plays the younger version, and Kurt Russell plays the older version. Cool. And they talk about how they fuck with each other because like Wyatt will, they'll figure out like which scenes come before what, and they have to like force the other one to adopt these weird tics or traits that they're doing for that character, which I think is very cute and funny. But that's great. I don't really have any complaints about that, other than there's just some guests that I just don't know who they are, so I don't really know what I'm expecting when I'm listening to them. And there's a shit ton of episodes. And then finally, I am listening to a podcast called Fake Doctors, Real Friends, which is Donald Faison and Zach Braff, the 2 main characters of Scrubs, the TV show, which is one of my favorite TV shows ever.
They do commercials together.
Yeah.
Which is cute.
Yeah, so like they did, like in the middle of COVID, they did a podcast. They were like, let's do a rewatch of Scrubs, and they were going to do it anyways, but they decided like, hey, we got nothing else better to do. So they literally just rewatched Scrubs. And it's really interesting to listen to because you get some good insights, like what the production was like, how their tryouts or whatever they're called, auditions were like, and like the relationship to other cast members. The 2 of them are literally JD and Turk from the show. It's so like funny and wholesome because they are like literally best buds to each other like all the time. Like you would think you were just listening to like the 2 characters talk to each other in a podcast. It's really nice. But the problem with the show is I listen to it and it just makes me want to go watch Scrubs, which I've also been doing. So it's just a weird kind of like, do I like listening to this, like listening and watching Scrubs like 3 times, which may be a little bit too much. But it's a good one that just for me to throw on every once in a while, and I just like listen to them talk about an episode. I'll put on episodes that I really like, or they'll have like guest stars or guest podcasters. Like they'll have Sarah Chalk on. They'll have Johnson McGinley, who played Dr. Cox. he had a really interesting story because the episode that they were watching together that day, they were like, this, when we taped this episode, it was the same day as 9/11. So they all like talked about like that day, like what they experienced. And John C. McGinley was just like, oh yeah, my brother was in one of the towers and he saw the first one get hit, like in a weird haze, got up from his desk and just ran out of the building. And they didn't hear from him for like 12 hours or something, and he somehow was able to survive that entire catastrophe because he just like his body went to autopilot mode and just like made him leave his work.
I just kept crawling and it just worked.
Yeah. But of all of those, I highly recommend Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. Very funny, very, very, very great show. Also, he's like kind of unshackled from like late night talk show shenanigans, so he can be a little bit more loose and doesn't have to necessarily play to like TV show rules or having like a set script of like what they're going to hit and do. So it's a lot more natural in those discussions, I think. But yeah,
I'll throw in a podcast thingy.
Yeah.
My favorite podcast has twice in a row now has ended due to unforeseen circumstances. So first I lost the Super Best Friend cast, and then I lost Let's Fight a Boss, which latter one is the Super Eye Patch Wolf podcast that I really loved. It was great for drives. I've stolen so much of this podcast from that. Actually, y'all don't even know. Yeah. Y'all don't even know that.
God. You know what's
You're on a copy right now.
What's funny is that while we were like earlier this year, I listened to their Game of the Year podcast for the first time.
It's just one for one stolen. It's just I'm shameless about it. I even say it when we start.
Yeah. I listened to one after that, and they were like, "We're going on hiatus," and I was just like, "Oh, that kind of sucks," but hopefully they'll be back in a few months.
They did it, bro. It was so Jover.
It's very sad.
However,
but,
Super Eye Patch Wolf has now started another podcast with Wooly Versus, who's a creator I enjoy very much. He's very into fighting games and other games that I like. I've shared clips. He's the black dude with the other black dude, Bradley, reacting to 13 Sentinels.
Yeah.
In those clips, they're just very different. they're just very interesting gentlemen. And he has a very interesting. Actually, he birthed Super Eye Patch Wolf because he said some shit about Hunter x Hunter, and Super Eye Patch Wolf made his first video as a response to that. So it's just all come full circle. They're like best friends now. It's very cute. They've only.
Isn't he one part of the Super Best Friends
podcast? It's so circular.
Yeah.
He is a survivor of that fiasco.
Yeah.
So, anyways, all to say, I might have a new podcast to listen to finally because they only have one episode. They did I feel like they didn't want to do the same format, so they just did like a 10 favorite things from this year kind of thing, which was just like rewatching Super Eye Patch Wolf's most recent video where he's like, my favorite things of winter. Like 70% of that was in that podcast, but regardless, I will not have things. I think Wooly's making Super Eye Patch Wolf go to, like, the gimmick is they're gonna make each other do a thing every month.
That's cool.
Like all the game, like how Tyler's supposed to play God of War 2018 because Joe won that year. So one day,
I did start playing that game.
Oh, you did actually. You gotta.
I did. I didn't like it.
You gotta give it 4 hours, because I'm gonna make y'all play 4 hours of a game. Actually, 4-hour test. But anyways, he's making John go to a fighting game local to play Street Fighter 6. Like find a local in Ireland and go play. And then John is making Wooly play Fear and Hunger, which I'm also going to make Bradley play, so we can play. I want to play Fear and Hunger, Bradley, and we should play it at the same time because it seems like a Bradley game. It's fucking weird from everything I've seen. Anyways,
like weird.
We now have an Omega Giga movie block, and I really don't know how.
Do we want to talk Scott Pilgrim before we begin the giant block?
I was going to throw Scott Pilgrim in last because it's probably the one thing that most of us have together. Actually,
you know what? That could be a good idea.
Right.
Yeah, we'll keep that train of thought then. So instead, we'll just, I don't know, Bradley, we'll throw it to you. Why don't you tell me about Migration?
Yo, Migration was funny because me and Emmy had kind of been clowning on this movie for months just because like there were so many ads everywhere. Every time I go to see a movie, they talk about Migration, and like holy, like grocery store, the fucking oranges have stickers, see Illuminations migration. We were even watching Shark Tank, and there were these dudes pitching their product, and they're like, you know, we were just so inspired by Illumination's upcoming movie, Migration, that'll be coming out on blah, blah, blah.
No, that's not.
Is that what Shark Tank has become? I haven't watched it in a while, but I want to. I love Shark Tank.
Like, it seemed like a migration ad. They were just like, we were so inspired by this upcoming Illumination movie to make this product, whatever. So, like, I was like, I'm not gonna watch your damn duck movie about some birds flying south for the winter. And then, you know what? We were at the Domain having a little date, just like unprompted fun, buying food, looking around shops, and they have a movie theater up there, and we were like, you know what? Fuck it. We don't have anything planned. Let's watch a movie. But all the movies there, and we were like, okay, well, they got Wonka, and we're like, I don't want to watch Wonka.
Wonka's supposed to be good. I'm just saying.
I don't know. Yeah. We were just looking at all the movies, weren't feeling it. And we're like, the least bad one on here looks like Migration, and we're like, fuck it, we'll just get 2 tickets for Migration. And you know what? We kind of laughed our ass off the entire time. I was kind of impressed. Like, obviously, like, you don't have like a super, it's not like the most compelling story in the world, but I was genuinely like, this movie's funny, man.
Good.
It's just this family of ducks. They've lived in this one little pond their entire life, and then every year, like, other ducks who fly south for the winter will land in there, and they're like, oh my god, y'all should totally fly with us and stuff like that. But the dad is so terrified of the outside world, he doesn't let his wife or his kids or any of his family ever leave the pond. And they're starting to be like, Dad, like, we're not ever gonna get to live our life or anything. And so the movie is just like him caving and like, you know what? Fuck it, we're flying south for the winter. And hilarity ensues. But no, I dig it.
Nice.
Cool. Bradley, how does this differ in plot from The Crude?
Oh my god, The Crudes. I only ever watched that once. Oh, because they have to like travel to the...
It's literally about a dad who doesn't like to go in the outside world, and eventually his family convences him to leave the cave, and hilarity ensues.
Yeah, but
and then he's like, outside world good.
But they're ducks. They're ducks, bro.
They can fly.
That's a whole
vertical.
Dude, no. Y'all just reminded me of my favorite fucking character of the movie. There's this chef they have to escape from, and his character design is just the... Oh my, it's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Like, oh my god, hold on. I'm gonna find a picture of this.
No spoilers, man. No spoilers.
But, I don't know.
Post the picture, but spoiler tag it, because I want to see it.
Now, I got it, Bradley.
Tyler, your Crude's question has put you in the hot seat. It's time for you to tell me about Wish, the favorite Disney movie of 2022.
This is a two-parter, because Wish is followed by the other animation that I watched. So Wish was a Disney movie that came out in 2023, and it was like, what, has Disney been around for like 100 years?
Yes.
Now, so
Christ,
this was the most like pathetic self-masturbation movie of Disney that I've seen.
Yeah,
it was wild. Like,
I looked up some clips just because I was just like, this is all bad.
So who all watched Wish?
Not me.
I think just Tyler.
Did you?
I watched it.
Oh, nice.
You watched
it? Did.
Bradley, I really like how this movie looked. I thought it looked pretty damn good. But this movie was fucking ass.
Yeah. I kind of like what they did with the art style, just because it looks a little bit different than I'm used to. Because I feel like with a lot of 3D animated movies, you kind of it's like same face. It's like same face, but for the whole movie. This one just I don't even know if what they did aesthetically was good. I just liked it because it was different. Honestly,
from what I saw, it looked like everything else. Is it?
It's like, got some like watercoloring stuff going on too.
Oh, I can kind of see it. Sort of.
Sometimes for the background,
you have to see it in motion. Like you have to see like a bunch of. You have to see it more in action.
There's also like hand-drawn backgrounds as opposed to like 3D modeled backgrounds.
The actual models are the Disneyest Disney. For what that's worth.
And like, so here's my deal, right? Because the movie really wasn't that good, and I feel like it could have been good. It had really good ingredients put in it at the start. And I feel like they just didn't do anything with it, because the whole do y'all want the premise of the movie?
Sure.
Yeah.
So the premise of the movie is that there's this town that's ruled over by the sorcerer guy, and
But he's a good king.
yeah, like
He's a good magician king.
he gives people what they want and stuff like that. Like he created this big city for them and stuff like that. And essentially everybody in the town gets to give him a wish. And I think once per year, he'll basically go through and grant one person's wish. Like,
Cool.
this person's like, I want to have a restaurant where I just make all the most delicious food and blah, 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 blah. And he's like, you know what? That's an amazing wish. I bet you would be great at it. Boom,
So,
here you go.
it's a good investment for the kingdom, too, if you just have a dude who makes amazing food. Yeah.
Willer has seen the movie now. He gets it.
Yeah. And
That's
so,
how predictable and basic the plot is.
It's like
So,
a capitalism thing. He just grants the wishes that are like...
well, here's the thing, right? Is, you know, everyone hands their wishes off to him, and, you know, it could be granted next year, or you could wait 90 years and your wish never got picked. And there is a trade-off to giving him your wish. Here's the thing. You can give him your wish at a chance of, like, oh my god, there's a chance that one year this might actually happen to me. But if you give him your wish, you forget ever even having a desire for that thing. So, for example, one of the main character's friends is, like, just always really depressed and sad and sleepy. And they're like, yeah, he didn't used to be like that. He actually was, like, a really happy, driven person. But then he gave up his wish, and he just has no drive to do anything in life anymore. And the thing is, he doesn't even know what it is that he lost because he gave up that wish. So that's kind of the catch with it, is, like, do you even, like, if you have, like, your greatest dream in your entire life, what drives you? It's like, you could give that up and hope it comes true, but the whole time you're waiting for it to come true, you wouldn't even be able to appreciate that thing or remember that you want it.
That's pretty good. It's got some levels to it.
Oh, that's a cool premise. That's the thing. Like, it could have had levels. So the main character, very beginning of the movie, she becomes the assistant to the sorcerer, and she's asking him, like, so, you know, what's the deal with the wishes? Like, how do you decide?
No. She is interviewing to become the assistant.
Right.
Right now, she works as, like, a tour guide for the town.
Yeah. And basically, you know, she's interviewing with him, and she's in his, you know, sorcerer study, and she's like, so, like, what's the deal with the wishes? Like, how do you actually get to pick? Because her grandpa is one of the people who, like, he's been waiting 80 years, never got the wish. And he's like, well, you know, I have to go through all the wishes, and I kind of have to weigh them and stuff like that. Because, like you said, the restaurant thing, that's a good investment for the town. It makes everybody happy, stuff like that. But then he's like, you look at other wishes, and some of them are kind of vague. For example, this person's wish is just, I want to inspire everybody. And he's like, inspire them to do what? Like, inspire them to have a revolution or something? And she's like, well, I mean, that's not really fair. Like, you can't know what they want to inspire people to do. And he's like, yeah, but, you know, if I'm going to grab a wish and I'm going to grant it like it's 100% going to come true, I just want to make sure it's, you know, good for everybody.
That's on them. Like, that's not a concrete wish. I'm with the evil, clearly evil wizard.
Exactly. You're kind of
also
right?
there's a story at the very beginning of the movie where it sets up that the guy who builds the kingdom, the king, his original village that he lived in with his parents was attacked by bandits. They burned and killed everybody in the entire town, and he learned how to use magic in order to build a new family and protect them all someday.
Yo, that's giving Encanto, where we're like, yo, we were going through the fucking Colombian Revolution or whatever the fuck, and we just developed magic. It's like as a defense mechanism.
Yeah, they took that plot point.
You got your setup, right? Like, you know, you can give up your wish. There's the trade-off. You forget about it. And even then, the sorcerer kind of has a system for, like, you know, it sucks not everyone can get their wish granted, but, you know, I just got to think about what's best for everybody. So that's the setup, right?
This is the handsome guy in, like, the trailers, right? Yes. Like, I thought he was her dad. Okay, I see.
And so there's stuff you can do with it. So at this point, we're still only, like, 10 minutes into the movie. Here's kind of where the movie kicks off. She's like, okay, well, if you have a bunch of wishes that you know for a fact you're never going to grant anyway, she's like, can you just give those wishes and the memories of them back to people? And he's like, no. And she's like, why? And he's like, you're a bitch and I hate you. And
well, damn, Disney.
All of the cool stuff I talked about is just never explored for the rest of the movie. Every time he's ever on screen after that, he's just an evil wizard trying to get her.
That's such a like. I have a cool concept. Great. What does that mean for the characters? And like, why can't he do X things? Like, I don't know, man.
So from what I'm getting is that they give the game away too soon, and then it's just kind of a predictable movie.
Like, they almost kind of saved it at like, because at one point in the movie, he opens up like a forbidden spell book, and he's like, "I've never used a single spell in here because I told myself I would. These are forbidden magics," and he uses them to, try to attack the main character girl. And the problem is, these forbidden magics require the wishes as fuel to be used. And so I'm like, like that could have been the big reveal. Like,
yeah,
that's why he didn't want to give up the wishes, and he just couldn't tell her, like, I'm saving them to use evil magics. But the thing is, he wasn't, though, saving them to because he genuinely, even when he's not around other characters, when he's with the book, he's like, oh my god, I never ever want to use this book. The magics are so evil. So if his only actual use for the wishes is the book, which he has never and never wants to use, why is he hoarding them?
Yeah.
And they just never addressed that.
Oh, they could have done something good with the movie, but
they could even just said like, he's like, I literally just can't. Like, I can't do it, and that could have been like,
yeah, they could have even done that.
Okay, but then like, he's sympathetic if he's not greedy.
But like,
they should have added a line where it's like
no, he's super greedy because after he starts learning the evil powers, the girl, the main character, goes and wishes on a star. The star falls out of the sky and literally has infinite god power, can make anything happen, and starts checking. It starts checking off every Disney movie checklist, like talking animals, check. Talking animal music scene, check.
Enough. I've heard enough.
Talking sidekick, check.
Oh my god.
Gives all the people superpowers, check. And then the wizard guy's like, all right, I'm going to harvest all the wishes. You're rebelling against me. I'm going to harvest the wishes to squash the rebellion that you're trying to take from me. And then I'm going to steal your wish power to make and subjugate all of you to disobey me.
Okay, well, that sounds like trash. Like, the checklist thing, I could just picture myself deflating in the theater. Like,
there's a very interesting video I watched on YouTube that I know it's weird to compare people like who are actually working in the industry to like people on YouTube who analyze stuff. But when I walked out of the movie, I go, this movie seems like they told an AI to generate a script for a Disney movie.
Yeah.
Disney they'd be like, can we get away with it? Can we?
If they came out and finally said it, I'd be like, yeah, like
I knew
that. Like that makes sense.
I think the most important thing to remember is that this movie forced them to release Soul back in theaters because they are so desperate.
Yeah.
I need to watch Soul. So
it's great, by the way.
What back in theaters?
Soul. And another movie. What was it?
What is Soul?
The Disney movie Soul.
Disney movie Soul. Charlie, you cried at that movie.
SOUL.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not like Soul, like the town in.
Wait, why'd they release that back in theaters?
Because they're desperate for money. Like Disney Plus is a failing platform.
Okay. So, speaking of platforms, we watched immediately following Wish. I went home and watched Adam Sandler's new animated movie Leo.
Oh yeah, I was wondering if that was good.
It is a Netflix movie rated PG. And this is about Leo the lizard who's stuck at a Florida school for decades, and he learns that he's like, oh, I'm 89 years old, and iguanas have like an average life expectancy of 90, so I only have 1 year left to live.
Oh, what the fuck?
So like he plans to escape to freedom, like when the kids take him home for the weekend, but instead he reveals he's a talking animal.
Oh. And
he starts helping each individual child in the classroom overcome their what's it called? When you're you don't like something about yourself?
Insecurity.
Like insecurities.
Yeah, they're insecurities, and helps them grow as tiny little adults. So instead of escaping, he starts going home with a different kid every weekend.
What? This is awesome.
And like, and each one knows he talks, but he's like, "Don't tell anybody I talk though." So they're all like, "Oh, he's so cool." It's a really cheesy movie, but it was really wholesome. And by comparison, like, that is why I hate Wish so much, is I went and watched this, and I was like, Adam Sandler is making better animated movies than Disney.
Jesus Christ.
Like, what does that say about us as a society? Leo also has an 82% on Rotten Tomatoes. Just want to throw that one out there. And a 7 out of 10 on IMDb. It is not a terrible movie.
What is
it is?
Go on.
It is. I would highly say it is a. It is a lighthearted family movie.
If I see it on the plane this week, I will throw it on for you.
It's on Netflix.
What's with Adam Sandler doing really good movies about like aging?
Because he's probably getting old.
He's
like
older.
No, he's been doing it since Click though. That's like that was the one good Adam Sandler movie before Uncut Gems. Right.
Okay, so I am a little bit of an Adam Sandler
fanatic.
No
shit.
Just a little bit. So I think it reflects, like, with a lot of the movies he did in the early 2000s. He is a big family man, and Happy Madison, like, he is, like, that is why you see all the same actors in every single, like, Adam Sandler movie, is his success from SNL and, like, Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, Little Nicky, and all that stuff in the early 2000s. He used all of that money to basically make his own Happy Madison company, hire all of his friends and family, and that's why he gets to make the movies he wants to make.
Which are trash, but you know what? Let him cook.
I mean, like, the last trash, like, kind of offbeat Adam Sandler movie he made was Don't Mess with the Zohan.
God, that's a bad movie, though.
But, dude, it's not like... It's not 8 Crazy Nights or Little Nicky. Like, he's not being a raunchy Adam Sandler. It is. But it's not the same type of raunchy Adam Sandler that we used to know. Like, that was the final one. And then, like, 2 years later, he makes Grown Ups. And then, you know, there's Grown Ups 2. No, he made That's My Boy with Andy Samberg, which that's a fun one. But then that same year that That's My Boy comes out Hotel Transylvania, which has its own weird place to talk about on the internet. But yeah, he makes cool shit. Like,
I've never seen it, but I'm a fan of Mavis. That's all I know.
Oh, I'm sure you are. One of my favorite movies that is under the radar is one called Sandy Wexler, and it came out in 2017. And it's about a talent manager from Hollywood, where Adam Sandler plays this talent manager who is, like, used to be really successful, but everybody knows him, and he's just like, he plays Whitey from Adam Sandler's 8 Crazy Nights. Like, it's
I thought Whitey was just Adam Sandler with a pitched up voice.
It is, but he plays the character Whitey as just like, oh yeah, he's this old guy in Hollywood that everybody knows that kind of is like, doesn't take him too seriously anymore. Yeah, and then he also has the movie Hustle that came out in 2022. I like that one a lot. Now,
when's Uncut Gems, fuckface? I've been waiting for years.
Man, I think I'm in a good place now. I think I'm in a good place where I can.
Well,
watch
that's
it.
Not gonna last. Let's go.
Yeah, let's watch it now.
Oh shit.
Because remember, I think I watched. I think I was watching BoJack Horseman the same year that came out, and that was too much.
No, you can't be doing both.
Yeah, that's like taking that's double fisting.
Holy
depression.
shit! I'm gonna come. I can't wait for you.
Yeah. All I know is talking about Adam Sandler. I saw the trailer for that Spaceman movie last night. That looks pretty good.
Spaceman.
Dude,
I think it's just called Spaceman.
Yeah,
it's the Netflix movie that Tyler posted in our chat.
Ah, right. Yeah, I was like, new Tyler content. Let's go.
Is the spider real or not? That's the real question.
I know. That's what I was wondering.
I forgot to mention, you were saying migration was everywhere. I did not hear about that movie until you posted it. I was like, oh, Bradley's talking about Worm again? Yeah,
dude,
that one...
I couldn't escape the ads for it, but you know what it probably is? I complain about it out loud, and all my devices hear me talk about it. And
unironically.
See migration.
Unironically, yes. I'm probably going to get the first ad for migration. I just said it
right
was my phone.
This.
Right after this. Speaking of Adam Sandler in the 2000s, Joe, you watched Mean Girls 2024 in this complicated segue.
I don't know how. Yeah. Yes, I went and saw Mean Girls 2024, which is based off of the Broadway musical Mean Girls, which is based off of the 2008 movie Mean Girls.
Certified classic of our generation.
Yes. I went in with this. So we went in to watch Mean Girls. We sat down, and first, I want to say 20, 25 minutes of the movie, I was like, oh god, this is going to be a fucking slog. Like, it just, like, the songs weren't really popping. It just kind of, like, the introduction of Regina George and the Plastics was very underwhelming for... But I expect to be very bombastic if it's a musical, right? Because you throw all subtlety out the window when you're singing. And I was just like, okay, this might be a long movie. And then we got to the Halloween scene of this movie. And that Halloween scene starts off with Sexy, which I think, Bradley, you've heard, because I know for a fact Emily put it on one Halloween, where, like, it's Karen singing about Halloween and goes through all the different sexy Halloween costumes. Very, very funny song. I was like, okay, this is getting upbeat. And then we get to the song after that called Someone Gets Hurt, which is a Regina George song. And at that point, the movie starts to really come to its own and starts to kind of, like, really be, like, actually enjoyable. That song is quite literally a James Bond theme song, and it's fucking incredible. It's so cool, like, the way that they, like, portrayed Regina George, like, seducing Aaron, which is the boy from the movie. It was, and after that, I was like, oh, I'm having a good time now. I still think original Mean Girls was really, really good. And then I walked out of the movie. The original Mean Girls is, like, far superior, I still think, in terms of, like, just comedy. But walking out of the movie, I just kind of realized, like, the story of Mean Girls is just an overall solid story. Even if you strip away the musical parts, the comedy parts, it's still, like, a story about relationships, backstabbing, societal norms, and just societal hierarchies and everything like that. So I just thought, like, it's like, okay, yeah, Mean Girls is it's just good. Just a solid story. Well done, Tina Fey. You made it. What's crazy is that Tina Fey made that story out of a fucking self-help book she was reading about her own daughter, which is kind of crazy.
Inspiration comes from interesting places.
Yeah, but just to go through things really quickly, the girl who played Caddy is very cute. However, like, you can't, like, it's really hard to, like, see her turn into, like, the Plastics at the end compared to Lindsay Lohan, because, well, Lindsay Lohan at that time was, like, basically a smoke show. Like, she was on every, like, teenage boy's wall, I feel like. You see her in her outfit, and I'm just kind of laughing to myself because she has, like, what you would expect of her to wear, and she kind of looks like a middle school girl. It's just very funny. Woof. Regina George, though, that girl got a fat ass.
Joe, are you allowed to be saying this?
She's thick.
He's just reporting.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's just telling it how it is.
Yeah. Like, no, I turned to my friend who I went to, was like, was Regina George, like, just, she's like, yes. I was like, oh, okay. She has a great singing voice. It's really interesting because I went home and I watched Mean Girls, like the original one, and it's just weird seeing the beauty standards have significantly changed between then and now, right? So I just thought that was very, very interesting to see. They also integrate a lot more of, like, the social media of today. Like, you see, like, people making TikToks of scenes. Like, some of the musical segments are, like, TikToks, like, stacked on top of each other, like, frame by frame, which I thought was really, really cool. It just kind of shows that, once again, that story is kind of going to be pretty eternal because it doesn't matter. Yeah, like, it doesn't matter what era we're in. These things are going to happen. They're going to be lessons every generation has to learn, right?
And Tina Fey will always be there to give you the lesson.
True. Tina Fey reprises her role as the math teacher, and so does the principal. There's also a weird continuation in this movie because you figure out that they got married between the movies. I don't know how that works, but yeah, I enjoyed Mean Girls 2024. I really, really did.
Nice.
So it's I'm not saying it's, like, something you should, like, go out and go see. But like if you're just like, oh, I'll just throw this on while I'm doing laundry, or just like want to have a.
He's saying it's high mid.
Yeah, it's high mid. I would say. I've been listening to the album just because. Oh, also, the girl from Moana. Is Janice in this? And she is awesome. And they make her like very punk rock, and all her first songs are very much that as well. And she has a great singing voice, which we all kind of knew anyways from Moana. But I watched the clip earlier where they were doing like the Verge like discussion, and she had her question up, and everyone's just like, I just want to let you know, I love Moana, and you inspired me to like sing and learn how to dance and stuff like that, which is kind of but yeah, overall high mid. Really enjoyed it a lot more than I thought.
Now, last question. You said Regina's the hottest in this one?
Yeah, well, duh. Yeah.
I mean, it should be Gretchen like the original, but all right.
It's weird because they flip Gretchen and Karen's like genders, or not genders, race, ethnicity. Gretchen is
that's random.
Is white in this one.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Did the old Hollywood swapperoo?
Yes. The girl who plays Karen, this is very funny. They're all really funny, I think. Caddy's the kind of the lowest point of that whole cast, I think. But yeah.
All right, I must interrupt this movie block with another movie block.
Yes.
I'll throw this one in the middle because it feels perfect. I'm going to quickly rattle off some movies I watched in the increasing order of how good they are.
Okay.
Some of y'all have watched some of these because I watched 2 of them with y'all, or 3.
Yeah.
So that'll be relevant. Let's take it from the top. Actually, I don't know which one's the lowest of the movies. I'm in between two of them. One is Men, the 22 movie. How
was that?
It's an A24 movie, which tends to be my favorite movies that come out these days. Not this one is The Miss for sure. I don't like this movie very much. Like people say this movie is not subtle in its messaging, and I think what they mean is that like, I guess it's not subtle, but it's also not very clear of like, okay, so there's a cycle of toxic masculinity that is happening in this town that this lady has moved into. So what? Like, the movie gets so surreal. Like, there's a creature that haunts the girl, and the creature can turn into any one of the different men. Like, it embodies them all.
Sounds really good.
It's not. And then it gives birth to one of the other men, and then it gives birth to the other. So there's multiple male pregnancies in this movie, in the same scene. So it's fucking insane. The overall... Yes?
Go ahead. Sorry. Finish your discussion on a minute, then I got a fun fact for you.
The overall just premise is this lady lost her husband, and she's moving to the countryside. And there's a lot of men there, and they're toxic to her in very different ways, each one. And I get that. Like, it's just, I don't know what they're going for. Like, I get what they're going for, but I don't know what they're going for. It's just not interesting as well as the main problem, aside from the messaging.
Do you want to know a fun fact?
Sure.
The writer-director of this wrote a video game. Do you want to know what video game it was?
Ooh, tell me.
DMC Devil May Cry.
Wow. Yeah, I have nothing to say. I've never played DMC. I just know it's. That's sorry. He's mentioning the remake that people don't.
Yes,
like. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He also wrote Annihilation, which kind of gives me a little bit of pause of seeing Annihilation.
Annihilation probably has similar vibes.
I think I would like Annihilation. You have to watch Men. You have to watch Men to know what I mean about it just being like uninteresting a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Is it a male or female writer?
It's a male writer.
Is it weird that the male writer writes so many women-focused movies?
That's interesting.
Annihilation is a women
because they also did Ex Machina,
which is also
I hear is actually
Ex Machina. Oh, Ex Machina is fantastic.
Sexist?
No, I don't know. I don't know what he's cooking. All I know is that he's missed this time, but he'll get me next time because I like Ex Machina.
Is the monster called the Patriarchy?
It should be. That'd be badass.
It should be.
that kind of fits.
That sounds like a Bell Gear. That's a Bell Gear Solid boss. The patriarchy.
Lolly lule lo. The movie tied for it for the bottom of my list. It probably is. I don't know if it's higher. Is Inside. I watched this one with y'all. It's a movie where Willem Dafoe as a thief gets stuck in a house. In a condo that is used to store artworks. It just doesn't really do anything with the character aside from him going slowly insane. Y'all can jump in if you have any positives.
I like the imagery. I like this idea of he kind of reverts to this very caveman animalistic society within this very extravagant and futuristic house. There's a bunch of cool stuff in it.
I agree. The imagery is my favorite part as well.
Yeah, but Willem Dafoe doesn't get to do a lot, I feel.
Yeah.
He's just kind of there.
You don't learn anything about it. Yeah, for that amount of time, I wanted to learn about the character. Yeah. I don't know.
It's so even that, just to have an epilogue of maybe the guy came back and was just
what's all this shit in my fish pond?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It was just baffling.
If I had watched this movie in any other context other than movie roulette night, I would have probably fucking stabbed y'all.
Well, thank God that you can't. Movie roulette is deigned by God himself, not us. It is not a thing of mortals. It is a thing of chance and chaos. So.
Yeah. So I'm okay with it, but God, this movie sucked ass.
Yeah. Speaking of the next movie in my list, it was also a movie roulette list. It was Goodfellas. I'm kidding. It's Joyride.
Yeah.
Joyride was,
Joyride was fun. It took me a while to get into it.
Yeah, it was a slow goer. The characters are not very interesting at the start, and it's very very forced humor. But by the end, there's some good jokes, and I think the overall message / relationship between the two main characters is pretty good. The friend was 1000% supposed to be Awkwafina, right? But they couldn't get her.
100%.
There was some scheduling conflict, I guess.
Yeah.
Tyler, did you like Joyride?
I did like Joyride. That actress y'all were talking about, I just saw in a trailer for another movie coming out. So I think she's going to pop off really well from being in that movie. She was great.
She was good.
I haven't looked up public perception on this movie. I don't know if people like it.
I liked it a whole lot, actually. I will say I'm unintentionally sexist when it comes to movies, probably.
Wow.
Okay.
I unintentionally, it is out of ignorance. I will admit my ignorance. I never really liked a whole lot of female comedians growing up. I wasn't exposed to them a lot.
There wasn't a lot back when we were growing up.
I watched Bridesmaids for the first time in college, and that was really good. So I feel like this is another really good women empowerment movie.
Bridesmaids came out in 2011, but yeah.
I just like that. I mentioned, comedy stupid comedies like this are rare, so it's kind of these days it feels at least ones that are marketed, or comedies used to get big budget movies before the superhero Lord of the Rings Star Wars franchising happened back in the day. So now that it's just not really a thing in the limelight, so it was cool. I think Bradley would like this movie because it's got stupid Bradley humor.
It does.
Okay.
The sequence at the private airport was really fun.
Yeah. That got a good laugh out of me.
Yeah, sure. That was
and the multiple sex scene was a creative
God. Scene. That was it made me uncomfortable, and I said touche.
I like my favorite one was the woman not having sex. There was the
nerd girl.
No, the one in the weight room. Yeah, that one was creative
with the massage gun.
Yeah. Anyways, watch the movie if you want a dumb comedy. My next favorite movie. Ooh, you know what? I might do some swapping of the order here. Let's do it. We'll do Dream Scenario next.
Ooh.
This is a Nicolas Cage movie that I do recommend to Tyler. And I
go light on the spoilers.
I told y'all the premise, and you get this pretty early. A biology professor feels that he is not really living up to his potential, and all of a sudden he starts realizing that a lot of people are dreaming about him, and he's just kind of standing there in the dream being nonchalant. And then he finds out a lot of people are dreaming about him. People he's never met, people who've never met him. And he kind of goes viral as a result, and it goes from there. I will say the movie is a little less interesting in the back half, but has a really good ending. But also has a very interesting message that is of the times, but also very grounded in human and the flaws of the main character. Nick is a fantastic actor, actually. When he's in like things with a good script, yeah. And I think especially in the first half, the pacing's really good. And the second half, like the pacing the pacing remains good. It's just the second half has slightly less interesting content.
I looked up the IMDb, and Nicolas Cage's character is Paul Matthews, and my brain was like, "That's not a movie character. That's just a regular guy's name."
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, I was like, no, that's probably on purpose.
We'll next throw in the Nightingale. This is a 2018. Was this Irish? No, it was. Well, okay, it's a film that has a lot of Irish people in it, and they speak Irish sometimes, but it's mostly in English. It's happening in Australia during the colonization of Britain. So in Australia at that time, it was treated like a big prison colony, as I understand it. And they sent a lot of Irish folk there. And from what I understand, the Irish aren't very keen on the British due to past colonization efforts. I don't know the full story, but I know there might be some bad blood there, and it might show in this movie a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, the British are actually fucking scumbags, as it turns out.
Yeah.
And that's
we
the
should
big
play John
takeaway.
Company.
And so it's a revenge story of a woman who is one of these convicts in Australia, who is she's the Nightingale, is in reference to the fact that she sings to the British men before they got to war, but they just kind of been stuck in this town, not getting any good orders. They're just kind of like it's a platoon of fucking losers and a very, very, very sadistic leader. There is this movie is rough to watch, I will say, because there is just extreme like sexual abuse, violence, murder, racism. It goes hard on all these, and those scenes are they don't hold back in those scenes at all. Anyways, the woman loses her husband and her baby and gets raped, all in the same scene.
Jesus.
Then it's just they fail to kill her, and she gets up, and like the dude is like, "Oh, I have to travel to a town up north, to like petition for me getting a promotion because it's not going so well because the other superiors kind of know I'm a fucking douchebag. So I need to go up there and charm them up because he is a charming guy when it's not doing that. So I'm gonna go petition one of those blacks that live in just the wilderness because they took the Aboriginal homes. So they just kind of like they're either slaves or live in the wilderness at these times in like little colonies. So he like petitions one of them to like take him up the mountain through the wilderness to where he needs to go to do his petition. The girl knows that. She's gonna go meet him partway through. So she also tries to get one of the Aboriginals to help. So the story becomes this story of an Irish woman and a black man, two people who were very oppressed by the British at the time, kind of getting to know each other and going through this revenge journey together. And a lot of people don't like what this movie turns into near the end. I really did, because the characters' bond is really the selling point. And I really, really liked it as a result. And I actually quite like the ending. Yeah, highly recommend it. Very good movie. And then we have two left. We have the Joe classic Goodfellas. Yeah. Finally getting into my watch list. Joe has been trying to get us to watch this movie forever, and because it was third in the movie roulette, I was the only one who's like, yeah, I think
it was actually technically first, and then everyone was just like, we should watch 2 other movies and then save that one for last.
The movie roulette order is while God picks the movies, man picks the order, and
True.
it was established to be last. So I stuck it out there with Joe. This is a Martin Scorsese gangster flick, and you know what? As you can tell from its placement here, it was really good. Joe might be onto something with this movie.
Yeah, I love this movie. It's even weird to watch it so close after watching Wolf of Wall Street, because those movies are literally the same movie, but Wolf of Wall Street is a more modern version of it. I think Goodfellas has a much better arc to it than Wolf of Wall Street does.
This is a great arc. The main characters, there's like a quartet of main characters, I would say, which is Henry, Tommy, who's De Niro.
Oh God.
I knew all their names.
Yeah, I do too.
Tommy, Henry, Joe, and Karen, who is
Jimmy.
And then Karen, who is
the
Henry's
wife. Henry,
and they're all really well-written characters, extraordinarily acted.
Yes.
Ray Liotta, you said, plays Henry, who is passed away. Ray Liotta is fucking incredible in this. When I hear people talk about Goodfellas, it's always Joe Pesci
and Robert De Niro.
But what really carries the movie is actually Ray Liotta for me, because he's equally parts like charming, but also like has that darkness in him. But he's a lot more human than the other characters in this thing.
I mean, like, just think about that first opening sequence where like they're driving in the dark and they hear the thumping in the back, and it's Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, and Ray Liotta in the car. They open the trunk. It's the guy that they thought they killed.
And they're like, "Oh shit, you're not dead!" And then Joe Pesci just starts stabbing him or shooting him. I forget.
And Ray Liotta is just kind of squinching in the background, like, "Ooh, this is gruesome. I don't really like this." And you're thinking like, "Oh, okay, he's maybe like brought into this. He might like." Your first impressions are like, "Oh, he's probably like in this for whatever reasons."
But ever since I wanted to grow up, I wanted to be a gangster.
Would be a gangster. He closes that fucking lid. You're like, "What?" It's so good, and like it's
the pacing's fantastic. Joe, have you seen The Irishman?
No, but it's on my watch list.
This is so it's interesting because that is my comparison point, because that's the other the other Martin Scorsese gangster flick that I've watched. The Irishman fucking blows. I hate that movie. It's actually so boring, and a big part of it is because De Niro's character in that movie is just completely unlikable and uninteresting in every way. He's just like a soulless, that's who the person was. He's a soulless sociopath. I don't want to sit through 3 hours and 30 minutes of boring gangster drama. It's too much. This borders on too long slightly, but the pacing is much better. So this clears Irishman by like a country mile.
I think it's just like you have the 3 of them are just, they have, like you said, they have really good chemistry, and I think like Ray Liotta's like narration through all of it too, I think it's like it really kind of like provides another like depth as to like what's going on and like the thought process and like how like he felt within his family. And then like you get to the ending and you reveal like why this narration is actually going on and what its context is, which I think is really good.
You would say it's that like he's bored of his new witness protection life, is why you're saying that?
Well, no, it's like it's him basically like it's him talking to the cops of like, here's how all this stuff came down.
Gotcha.
It's his testimonial, which Wolf of Wall Street does not do. Like I think like that's a big thing about it, is that like Wolf of Wall Street has this narration, but it kind of doesn't have a purpose, whereas this is very clear.
It's a cool framing device.
Yes, it's like you realize at the end it's him telling the court and the police like, here's why all of this happened and why this all happened. This
might be. Go ahead. Yeah. Sorry.
I just really love it, and then you get Karen that interjects every once in a while about her position,
which makes so much sense. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It was very late, so that little thing didn't click for me. Is it weird that my favorite scene potentially or sequence is the scene where he's trying to make a good sauce throughout the day?
No, that's
That shit is so peak, bro. Like,
it's so fucking good. And it's all like an hour, and you basically like you kind of see it in real time because like, I gotta go to Leslie's, I gotta pick up the coat, I gotta make sure the sauce is being stirred, I gotta go to the bank, I gotta drop off the guns. The guns didn't fucking work.
Anyway, it's great. We gotta move on to the actual best movie of my list.
Yeah,
which is The Guilty. The Guilty is a 2018 movie. It is a Danish movie. This was remade into an American version that I heard is good, but misses all the nuance that actually made this movie like a potential 5-star for me.
Okay.
I'll do it very quickly because we still got like 3 movies in movie block. 4. Jesus, this is the Giga movie block.
Yeah.
It's a Danish movie about a cop dispatcher who is taking calls, and that's the entire movie. It's a cop dispatcher in the dispatch room. And actually, he switches scenes by going to a small office in the dispatch room, and that's all you get. It is the most minimalistic setup you could possibly get, and it is incredible. Like, the storytelling that they do within that framework, this has the thing that Inside didn't, where you learn so much about the main character because he gets to interact with multiple people through phone calls. The essential is that he gets a weird call. Like, you can tell that he's like way above his station doing this. Like, why is he doing this? It seems like he has a lot more, like, people give him a lot more respect than he shouldn't be here. Like doing dispatch call this night. And he eventually gets a call that is just a weird conversation happening. And he's like, hey, what's going on? And then, like, he starts to realize that a woman has turned on a phone but can't let the person she's talking to know that she turned on the phone. So he has to awkwardly, and she's like, oh, I'm calling my daughter, basically. Sorry. She's saying, I'm calling my daughter, and she's having to have a fake conversation with her daughter as she's calling for help on the dispatch. And that boils into like this insane kidnapping story that has a lot of great twists, and your stomach drops at points, and the ending is fucking fantastic. This movie rules. Everyone go watch The Guilty. You will have to watch it in Danish, but it's cool because I've never seen a Danish movie before, so this was
neat.
People's names are pretty wild over there in Denmark.
Yeah, they got the O's with the slashes through them, and the A's with the
that?
dots.
So we'll transition from my movie block. We'll ease back out, and we'll go into something Joe watched as well, which is Godzilla Minus One. Joe, I'll let you take point here, but we should go fastish if possible.
Okay. Godzilla Minus One is the newest Godzilla movie from Toho Studios, which is the original people that do Godzilla. This is set in... This starts in 1944. And then I think it's set like 1949 or something like that. It's set like during World War II and then a little bit past it. And basically the premise is that there is a kamikaze pilot who cowards out of his kamikaze run and says like, oh, my plane's malfunctioning, and lands on an island. And, you know, he gets there and the engineers are like, hey, man, we understand, totally get it. We think there should be more guys like you that aren't like, you know, just like doing this shit.
It's near the end of World War II, so a lot of the people are starting to realize that they're gonna lose.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, okay, so we'll keep you here overnight and we'll figure something out. During the night, Godzilla just comes out and attacks this base.
Like, I exist, bitch.
Yeah, attacks this base, and the main character has a potential opportunity to kill Godzilla, but cowards out in doing so, and Godzilla clears the rest of the base with the exception, I think, of like the head mechanic that runs this repair base. Yeah. And then he goes home, and people are like, "Oh, you're home? Well, maybe if you die for your country, you wouldn't be losing this war." And it's just him carrying this like survivor's guilt the entirety of this movie. And then Godzilla gets a power up and fucking attacks Tokyo.
That's later.
That's much later. But like it's all about like just survivor's guilt and like just kind of like this feeling of like, you know, I what do I do in this world where it's very obviously like this world doesn't want me to exist in it, right? Like I keep trying to survive, but there are multiple times where like I just should not be alive at this point because of my own personal actions. I
I think it's one of the best, if not, it's actually probably the best like character, like human stories of a Godzilla movie. I think that's been made. You have also I can't remember any of their names, but you have the main character
Koichi. No, what's his name?
Koichi. Yeah,
that's his name. Koichi Shikishima. I know that because it's a JoJo character and a 13 Sentinels character. So I was like, got it.
So I really, really, really like this movie like a lot. And I think Godzilla looked really cool in this. There's like a really devastating scene when he attacks Tokyo for the first time. And it gives me very Junji Ito vibes, the way he like walked and turned around in those scenes. I don't know if you felt that, Willer.
I did not.
Okay.
I went to see this with my brothers, which I was worried about. Because it's like they haven't really watched Japanese movies, or my older brother hates subtitles, and my younger brother, I just don't think he's watched like a full Japanese movie before, so it's gonna be like a weird adjustment period for both of them. Turns out they liked the movie more than me. Like they loved it. Like they were the emotional beats were crushing them, and like there's some good emotional beats in this movie. Yeah. I like this movie more as time passes, but I will say like there was points there where the human story was kind of dragging, and like this is a weird complaint. The acting kind of takes me out of this movie sometimes. And I've seen other Asian movies, including Japanese movies, including Korean movies. The acting is not always this over the top. And some of those scenes were kind of like, oof, I'm kind of like taken out as a result. But around like the halfway point, I started getting really into it again. And it really does tell a great human story. And as I was watching, I was like, Shin Godzilla is so for me. I don't think there will ever be a Godzilla movie because it's called Minus One, and it had a poster that goes right with Shin Godzilla. So I came in with like certain expectations, and it's more like it's a standard Godzilla movie executed to the like perfect degree as far as like the human storyline goes, which is what most Godzilla movies are missing. So, like, by the end, you really care about these characters and the message that the movie is sending about how Japan treated their own human lives. Like, Japan is not often critical of their actions in World War II. And this movie scratches that surface and is able to take a look, and it's like, we really devalued our own human lives at the very least.
Even post-war, like, you get there, and it's just like, everyone's house is in rubble and they're just living it, and there's nobody, like there's no announcements of people coming to clean up. It's just like that's just how you have to live now. And like
it touches on like how Japan rebuilding after the war, which I think is just like an interesting feat of humankind, like in history. So I'm already interested in that kind of setting. And like, man, that the final sequence in this movie rules. Like it's such it's not like a bombastic action scene. It's just like the plot has built up to them doing the thing so well, and so like it's driven by character development and emotion as opposed to like big graphics. This movie shits on a lot of movies, and it has a $15 million budget. So like, good on them for that. So the music. Sorry, I have to throw in. The music makes you shake to your core, especially like when the Godzilla theme plays. Like, oof.
Yes, it's also like it's really cool because that Godzilla theme is usually used as like Godzilla's coming, but at one point in the movie it flips and it's like, all right, the humans are coming into action now. And it's like the antagonistic against Godzilla theme. At the very end there.
Might I suggest this movie? I think Bradley would like this movie because it has really good family storyline. Like, it has very good family values storyline kind of thing going on. Like,
like I've never been big into like the Godzilla movies, but everything I've heard about this one is like, you know what? Maybe that's the one.
Because this one is like it's a movie where Godzilla is the physical manifestation of someone's guilt, basically. Yeah. So it just works out as a good movie as well.
I also like. So like Godzilla like evolves through this movie. Like when you see him, he's much smaller, and then he gets like the Bikini Atoll like atom bombs happen. They level him up basically.
I'm picturing like a Pokemon, like he's small and they hit him with the bombs, and then he goes dun 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 dun.
But Shin Godzilla literally has the best evolutions.
True.
Joe, let's quick. You're going to give me a one paragraph summary review of Poor Things because I don't want you to tell me shit, bro.
Okay. I watched Poor Things. I'm going to start this out with saying that I watched this with my mother, which is really important. I thought Poor Things was okay. I was expecting a lot more from this movie. I think this movie has way too many sex scenes in it, like way too many. IMO. And I just I don't know. I even with my mom there, like, and me squirming a little bit with it, I still think if I was watching it by myself, I still would just kind of be very bored of like what was all happening on screen. Now, there are some parts of this I'm like, that's really good. I really like that dialogue. I really like this scene. Mark Ruffalo, I think, is really funny in this movie. But there are other parts where I'm just like, I feel like we've been talking in circles for the past 20 minutes.
See, I didn't know any actor was in this aside from Emma Stone, so you're already breaking confidentiality right now.
Apologies, but it's on the poster.
I have it, Joe. What did I just fucking say? We gotta move on.
Okay, it's okay. I don't really recommend it too much to everyone here. That's my opinion.
I think it seems up my alley, so I'm excited to watch.
You might like it a lot, but I was just like, I just didn't enjoy it nearly as much as I wanted to.
And then finally, to de-escalate all these amazing movies, Tyler's going to talk about the best movie of the block.
Oh God.
Which is the Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
I did not hate this movie.
Woo! The end.
Okay,
right.
like, on the real though, they couldn't make this like weird like they wanted to, because
it's a kids movie, or at least
because Willy's Wonderland got released before this movie, which is a movie that parodies Five Nights at Freddy's. It did a really good job at it. That movie had Nicolas Cage. Five Nights at Freddy's has Josh Hutcherson, the male actor who is cast in all adaptation movies, usually known for video game to book to movies. I think that's yeah. I don't know. That's just that. I don't think that applies at all. Cut that out. Anyway, it's not a scary movie. It's just a weird movie. Someone like me who doesn't know anything about Five Nights at Freddy's, I was able to enjoy it a lot more. Like, yeah,
it's probably scary for the kids.
No.
Yeah, it's
this movie would be scary if I was like,
if I was this many.
If I was like 5 or 6, maybe.
Dude, kids love Five Nights at Freddy's, so.
It's not. Like, I would only be scared of this movie if I was like 5 or 6 and didn't know what Five Nights at Freddy's was.
I watched someone watch this movie and didn't really pay attention, but
you watched a child watch this movie?
No, she was an adult. She was squirming at like some scenes. So I was like, I don't know. There must be something.
Oh yeah. See, that's the thing. Is it's very gory. I'd say it's a slasher.
I see.
That's the genre. Slashers are weird movies now.
Yeah.
It's a slasher.
I can't wait for Terrifier 3. I can't believe
I'm wondering what the...
I know you're so fucking excited for Terrifier 3.
Sorry, Bradley.
You looked, baby.
Brother.
Yeah, I'm wondering what the Fred heads think about this movie. I don't know what the term for Five Nights at Freddy fans are.
No, you could.
But...
Oh, dude, rest in peace, Markiplier. No, not Markiplier. Fucking
Matt
Pat. He's not dead, so I fucked up in multiple ways. But yeah. Anyways, I personally, I quite enjoyed which ones did I play? I played like 1 through 3, and then I watched like 4. I liked FNAF lore until it became very clear that the dude was just retconning shit because he was just trying to like make Matt Pat make more videos, which makes him sell more games.
So it's a not a parasitic relationship.
It's a mutually beneficial relationship.
Yeah,
it's that book that Aaron's uncle is writing.
Yeah, who's a real man. God, that seems like such an interesting book now that I know what it is.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, anyways, I know some of the FNAF lore, and from what I could tell, this movie deviates a lot, or maybe it doesn't, because the dude's just gonna be like, yeah, this is the new lore. I'm gonna...
This one has Gold Freddy in it. Eddie. Which I don't think is revealed until, like,
Gold Freddy's in
FNAF
1.
3 or 4.
Is he in 1? He's like here we go. I know this from people who know this who turned it into videos. It's like a ghost like that pops up every once in a while in FNAF 1.
Yeah, no, that's who it is in this one.
Yeah. No, Gold Freddy's he's the 5-star pull on the Freddy banner.
Dude, where's the Freddy gotcha? Because there's fucking 50 animatronics now, I think.
No one's ever said the sentence, "Where's the Freddy gotcha?" before.
Dude,
where's the gotcha game?
People have said that sentence. Be real.
Okay, you know what? I'll give you like maybe 4 people out there have said it.
At least. I'm glad you didn't hate it that way.
I didn't. Although I will say, I like Willy's Wonderland a lot better.
Well, it's not made for kids.
Okay. First of all, when did the first Five Nights at Freddy's come out?
Who the fuck knows? Actually, that answer might make us all turn to dust, so no one look it up.
Yeah, that's the thing. First of all, the first Five Nights at Freddy's came out over a decade ago. Sorry, 9 years ago, exactly in August. So it's going to turn 10 years old this year.
That series has like 11 games.
The people who were playing Five Nights at Freddy's as like tweens are gonna be able to drink alcohol this year.
Fucked up.
That's who the target audience for FNAF
also,
is.
Joe, you do realize 2014 is 9 years ago in August, right? That's how fucked up time is right now. Oh my god.
It's 2024. It'd be 10 years ago.
Touche. So it's worse.
Yeah.
Yes.
Willy's Wonderland. I'm gonna finish my thought about that. Has Nicolas Cage in it, and he doesn't say a single line the whole fucking movie.
Based. He said,
it's amazing.
He said, "Fuck you, pay me."
Based. Yeah.
All right, guys. We've made it out of the GIGA earth-shattering movie block of 2020.
Oh my god.
I watch a lot of...
any more movies. No more movies. We're all out.
But I have movies on the list. But
do I go?
I realize now that I really did a boo-boo in this podcast where I made the entirety of the finale Tyler topics.
Yo, let's go!
Yeah, dude.
Right, don't yell. We can hear you.
So I played Hi-Fi Rush.
How cool.
How sway.
So I talked with Bradley about this. I am stuck on the volcano level because I fucking hate it. I'm like so bored going through the volcano level. I can't finish it.
And you know what? It kind of leads into the one valid criticism I have about the game, because I fucking loved this game. I consider it like probably like a 9.5 out of 10. Maybe even 10 out of 10. It's fucking fun. Though I think I experienced a little bit of what Tyler might be experiencing, where I love the combat in this game so much, and there are some levels where I would get sad that there's not more combat. Like, I think there is one level in the second half of the game that it's like just like pretty much a straight combat level, but some of these I feel like I'm doing like 75% platforming and 25% of my time fighting, and I'm like, no, I want more time fighting.
See,
yeah,
it's interesting because from my perspective, the level design of Hi-Fi Rush is the best of the genre, and in my opinion, the best the genre can be.
What's the genre?
Character action game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like Devil May Cry and Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah. And that's not to say the level design's not still good, because like there are some parts where it's like you can't just platform, you have to platform on beat or else you won't get through it.
I'm having a great time with it. Like, it's fun.
What are you struggling with the level? Or
I'm just like Bradley said, I am bored of platforming. Like, I got through the like triple elevator sections and everything. I'm probably on the boss for the volcano level. I just got really busy again. You know me. I was playing it on vacation.
You're not gonna play this ever again. I know how you operate.
No, I've got it downloaded on more than one console. I'm gonna finish it. This game is a spiritual successor to Beautiful Joe. It's got It is a
PS2 game in the time of our Lord 2023.
Yeah, it is great. I'm really glad that you get to play a game like this with such really wacky graphics. It looks beautiful. It's beautiful to look at. It's got great music. Loving it. It's got main character syndrome on the main character. He runs through the level and just like talks to himself the whole time along with like his earpiece. And I'm like, oh, this is some Gex level shit where he's just like punning at himself. This is great.
And they hate it.
I love it.
The people hearing it hate it.
Good game.
You're
good
still
game,
early.
Like,
well, if you play more in 6 months when you go on your next vacation, because I know how you operate.
No. I stopped playing it because I left my house. That's why I stopped playing it.
But actually, if we want to get to the one frustration, is that you can't skip certain dialogues, and that the volcano level was the first difficulty spike for me. So I had to hear Zonzo make that volcano bigger multiple times. I think Bradley will know. In that,
but also, Zonzo was like the best of the bad guys.
Yeah.
Well, he's no room for it, but he's pretty damn good.
I am struggling a bit with the difficulty because I'm playing on hard. I can't keep rhythm. I'm really bad at it.
You should
so
go
I'm
down
struggling.
to normal. TBH.
I'm enjoying dying a little bit. Like, it doesn't make me feel bad. I'm just like, oh, cool, I died.
You die on normal too,
to...
for what it's worth. And when it's not about dying. It's like, are you S ranking the missions? Because even that on normal is hard.
I don't care about ranks ever. That's not something that drives me to play a game. In fact, it actually like cool. I can see how good I'm doing with the beat, but I don't care.
Sounds like a skill issue.
No, I usually get A's and B's. I'm an A/B kid.
I will say the ranking system actually made me play this game differently because I got like 3 or 4 levels in, and I was like, I'm always getting A's, but I'm not getting S's, and so I was like, what the hell's going on here? And that's how I learned about like different combos you can do. Like I think there's the jam combos, which like I think you can actually go the whole game without doing a jam combo if you don't buy one from the store. So I learned about jam combos, and then I was like, you know what? I'm not actually like linking combos together using my grappling hook as much. And like, once I started playing to get an S, I realized there was so much shit in my kit I wasn't even using.
Which is exactly like, this just takes us back to the like FF16 didn't have the style meter, but that's how these games are made, where it's like you're just mashing buttons until you realize, wait, you're sucking at the game, and you could be having more fun if you engaged with the mechanics.
Could be better.
Which is it's the Pedro Pascal meme. Which is why the ranking system is visible, to show you that something is not right and teaching you, like, you teach yourself the mechanics as a result. But
I don't have that issue. It is just a skill timing thing. That's where I fail.
Yeah, like that being said, like the game is still also.
I use all my combos.
What are you playing on? Sorry. What
me?
Are you? Yeah.
I'm using an Xbox 360 controller.
Yo, I use the 360.
But on your
PC.
Computer, PC. Okay.
Yeah.
Because that should have all the right settings. You can you can go to the main menu and like see if there's any adjustments you can make, and also you can turn on the thing that has the metronome in the bottom. To help out.
I turn that, I toggle that all the time.
Yeah, that confuses me more than anything, so I just got used to it. And you know what actually helps me, and this might help you. Look at the top. Look at your HP bar. It pulsates to the rhythm.
Everything pulsates to the rhythm.
But that was the clearest. That was the clearest one for me. Like if I lost rhythm, because BB-8 also helps, but like, or it's not BB-8. Whatever, the cat.
Yeah, it's BB-8.
But the actual HP bar was really clear for me to follow. So that's
noted.
And also, you have to play with headphones, so I'm sure you are.
And also, you have to dance the entire time you play the game.
Indeed.
Yeah, I do actually sit there and bop the whole.
Dude,
game.
I'm jamming while I'm playing this.
Yeah.
Dude, the game has a streamer tracks that are as good as the licensed tracks, which is incredible.
What are streamer tracks?
You can
stream it and like not get copyright strike.
Okay.
Yeah, and those are some of those are better than the licensed tracks, which is pretty insane.
Bethesda came out with 3 games last year. Isn't that wild that Hi-Fi Rush was by far the best one?
I don't even know some of them. It's better than Starfield, I know that.
It's Starfield also came out last year.
And Redfall.
Redfall, yep.
Yikes. Anyways.
All I know is...
Wasn't even close.
In a few years, when Microsoft has become the next Sega and only makes games to release on other people's consoles,
they might genuinely.
They will release Hi-Fi Rush on the Switch too, and I will replay it.
No, bro, you're thinking too small. They're gonna release Hi-Fi Rush 2 in 3 years, and
and also it's gonna be called the Switch U.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Tyler, continuing Tyler block.
This is Tyler block. I have been reading Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, which I saw it, I read a chapter, and go, oh, it's a time skip of Boruto.
Did you skip all of Boruto?
Yes, I did. I skipped all of Boruto.
I don't think that's okay, but you do you.
Okay, so let's actually see how far I got into Boruto. Where can I find arcs of Boruto?
Wikipedia
Boruto anime arcs. Yeah, because I got halfway through Boruto anime. Because I stopped at the Kawaki arc, which Kawaki is when they introduce
his edgy adopted brother guy. I've seen him.
Yeah. Who's like, I think he's a cyborg actually, or he was invented by some scientist guy.
Oh shit.
Yeah. I think I kind of get everything that's going on with Boruto. Is like they were making a second Akatsuki, but there was a scientist guy in the Akatsuki who was building Kawaki to actually kill the Akatsuki because it was run by one of the Moon Men. And so now Naruto adopted him with Boruto because Boruto has a Moon Man inside of him who's gonna take over his body someday. So he's meant to build the kill the Boruto kid. Anyway,
we're redoing the Fox storyline. I see.
The most wild thing is they introduced a character who is like on the power level of like a movie character. So like this character, she's this girl, and her name is Ida, and she was a cyborg, cryogenically frozen, and then she unthaws. She looks like Reiju a little bit, to be honest. And she can see everything in the world. She has Santa Claus power.
She knows when you're sleeping.
Yes, she can see anybody in the world at any given time and know what they're doing. And cool. Knows when they're thinking about her. On top of that, if you see her in person, you immediately fall in love with her and do not want to fight her. So people don't ever attack her. So she is like a goddess. And then she doesn't really do much except just do subversion shit. Like, she's not a good guy. She's not a bad guy. She just vibing. That's all she wants to do.
I'm just no girl.
Yeah, she's just omnipotent. She sees everything. I think that's kind of the deal. She works with some of the bad guys at one point, but then she lives in the Leaf Village afterwards. And anyway, something happens with this character girl where Kawaki wants to be Boruto, and so the girl is like subconsciously.
I'm not even gonna ask.
Power. Huh?
I'm not even gonna ask. Just go on.
Subconsciously, her power rewrites the entire world so that Kawaki is Naruto's son and always has been Naruto's son, and that Boruto assassinated the Hokage of the Leaf, and now he's an enemy of the Leaf Village and is not Naruto's son.
Okay, that's why he's like edgy fugitive boy now.
Yeah, and they're like, after Naruto adopted Boruto into his family, like, how could he do that? And only Sarada, who has the Sharingan, because the Sharingan still has to be the fan favorite. Like, she dodged this jutsu, so anybody who has the Sharingan knows. But Sasuke doesn't know who Boruto is, but Sarada does. Yeah, Sasuke doesn't. Sarada does.
Okay.
But let me finish. But she tries to convince like Shikamaru that Kawaki is not Naruto's original son. He's like, no, that's how it is. That's how, like, it's always been like that way. Like, what are you talking about? So there, nobody in the village can be convinced that the guy who has the same name as Naruto is not his son and not the other guy. Yeah, Boruto Uzumaki is not Naruto Uzumaki's son.
Well, I mean, they could take on names for being adopted.
Yeah.
You don't know what their life is.
But Boruto, so in the time skip, Boruto ends up finding Sasuke, and Sasuke ends up training him a lot. And so he comes back to the village, during, like, the pain. Like, this guy named Code shows up and tries to pain the Leaf Village, and Boruto shows up, immediately, like, knocks that shit out of the way. And is like, nah, you're not gonna do that. But then they start attacking him, and he escapes. But that's when the trees start catching people, and now they're fighting trees. So they fight trees in Boruto, though. Now, the trees made a new Akatsuki group, and now the trees are gonna go attack people that they want to kill. So the trees capture people, like Sasuke, and then they make tree versions of those people, and now those people who they feel the strongest towards are the people who they're gonna go kill. So Sasuke doesn't want to kill Sarada; he wants to kill Boruto instead, which is kind of fucked up. Another level for Sasuke not being like he shouldn't have a family or some shit. But yeah, they're fighting trees. Also, this is a monthly manga.
Yes.
All I got out of that is that the trees are the bad guys, and I guess
they fight trees.
Treebeard is on a fucking rampage.
All I got from that is that Naruto is a very good series, and I should leave it at that. And
yep, I am good.
And not touch anything else. I have my nice 700 chapter Naruto. That's all we need.
I will probably read Boruto for the next 4 years.
Yeah, we know.
It's gonna be a hate read.
He's into the tree shit. He loves it. Tyler,
this is so fucking stupid.
I'm glad you're enjoying it, bud. Is this next thing you too?
Yeah, it's all me.
Okay, cool.
So I read Matthew Perry's Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing. This is, I listened to it. This is an autobiography, co-written by Matthew Perry. So he had a writer write it for him as he like kind of talked through it and everything. But on the audiobook, it's read by Matthew Perry, so it's pretty damn good.
Cool.
This is like I really watched Friends growing up. Like I watched the last episode as it aired back in 2004.
I think I did too.
It is a dated sitcom, sure, but it's like one of the original huge sitcoms.
You know, not by much. I've been
not
watching,
terribly.
It's aged fairly well, all things considered.
The rest of the world likes it a whole lot more than Americans like to dislike it.
Yeah.
That being said, this book is harrowing. Because Matthew Perry passed away in October of last year. This book released in November the year before. It was out 11 months before his death. This book, being spoken by him, just talks about his entire life. The reason, the way he is. And like, yeah, he was a drug addict. He was an alcoholic. But it talks about like, he understands why he's those things. He's gone to everything to try to make it stop. But it's like, if you tell someone to stop breathing, they're like, you're crazy. What do you mean stop breathing? Like, if you tell him to stop drinking, he's like, what do you mean, you know? And like, he describes it that way. He's like, like, you can't tell them that. But it's just his ups, downs, everything like that. The most fucked up thing is, I think the audiobook came out potentially a little bit later. But 11 months between this book coming out and him passing away, the end of the book is not him like feeling like he's trapped, and that's what's fucked up.
Like he feels free.
He feels like he's finally going to be on the best path. Like he talks about how he's given up alcohol multiple times, given up drugs multiple times, but he's never felt the weight of release from them until now. It's you know how there's the theory of right before you die, your entire life flashes before your eyes?
Yeah. That's
it's
what this
like
book feels like.
God gave him a chance to see his entire life flash before his eyes. He wrote it down and then read it out loud and then died.
Dude,
that's insane.
That's chilling.
It is extremely chilling. It's a good, inspiring book, and it's very interesting if you just want some insight into like who this person is. What is a little bit of Hollywood like? You know, what was this one of your favorite characters from Friends like story to go through? But it is incredibly just as you were listening to it and kind of get caught up in it, you have to just sit there and think, oh, this person passed away, and none of these things were the reason why exactly. And it's wild. If you have Spotify, it's on Spotify.
It's just wild how like the circumstances a book was written under can change like how you feel about that book, even if the text is exactly the same.
That's art. I mean, art's what you make of it, so it's very valid.
Yeah. Even like the. Go ahead, Tyler.
I was gonna say I had a nice cry at the end of it. It was terrifying.
Oh, that's good.
Good for you, bud. R.I.P. Matthew Perry.
Yeah.
Solo Leveling.
This got an anime, right?
Yes, anime is out and streaming on Saturdays.
Yeah, I think I saw like episode 2 just came out or something.
Yep. Episode 2 is kind of like the ending of the first like chapter. So next episode we're gonna take off into what the rest of the plot is about. Animation's pretty good so far. They keep everybody's Korean names, so it's just as confusing as when I was reading it for the first time. I'm like, yeah, this isn't like every other Japanese thing, because it's like nobody's like San. It's like they have like they're mixing between the
San is not part of the name. Yeah, like Korean. I'm sorry to Koreans.
They're not using honorifics. They don't use honorifics.
I'm sorry to Koreans, but it is tough to like because they use a lot like it's a lot of it feels like remix names where it's like. I can't even describe it. It's very tough to get into, and I've watched like a lot of Korean movies where it takes me like the entire movie to get one character's name.
Like 2 of the main characters are Il Hwan Sung, and the main character is Jin Woo Sung.
Oh, man.
And then
that's
like
very
he's
similar.
like Song, yeah. It's and then there's Jong and Choi, Hae and Cha. It took me a lot to get it, but I feel like I did. Yeah, I feel like I did all right. The very ending of the book. So this was the last Audible book of it. The book is only about 5 chapters long. It's probably only 30 minutes to an hour, because it just covers like the final fight. And then the rest of it's like a bunch of side stories and like wrapping up of like what it's like now in the world after this thing happened. It's about as mid as I've described the rest of the book, because I think I've been indifferent about it as it's gone on, where I wanted more and I said I'm probably not gonna get that, and I don't. So yeah, it's like that's not to say the anime isn't gonna be very entertaining for a lot of people. It is an entertaining experience. But after probably the first main antagonist arc, it starts to drop off a lot and drag on, and it doesn't really culminate into anything too exciting.
Meh.
Yeah, it's a very, I guess it's not anything too creative, not anything too outlandish or wildish. But it's over. Like, I finished it. Good job, me. I did it.
Finishing things feels great. I love when things end.
I love it when I climax. I mean...
All right. Keep it down there. Simmer down, buddy.
All right. I'm gonna announce this next segment.
The main attraction, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dungeon Crawler Carl, presented by Bradley.
We
Dungeon
can't
Crawler
escape.
Carl.
Welcome to the Harry Potter podcast.
I'm excited to talk about it.
Not
This
him.
is a book that, like, obviously Tyler's talked about this series a lot, and you know, I owed Tyler a recommendation, and I'm like, fuck it, I'll try out Dungeon Crawler Carl. I can tell how much you like it, and you know, this is a series that after finishing the first book, it no longer has to coast on being a recommendation. I'm just excited to read the rest of the series.
Nice.
I will say, oh my god, I went through this as an audiobook, which is very important, not only because, number one, I don't think this is the kind of book a lot of people would read on paper. It's more
not actually possible.
So it doesn't even have a physical release.
No, it's literally just an audio play.
Yeah. And I will say, as an audiobook, holy shit, it is so good. I pressed play 3 seconds in, I paused it, and I texted Tyler. I was like, this is exactly the kind of voice I want reading a story called Dungeon Crawler Carl.
What does that mean?
The dude's voice is just perfect for it. And like, I've gone through a lot of audiobooks, and sometimes you have audiobooks with really shitty audio quality, or maybe the audio quality's good, but the reader's kind of bland and boring, kind of like the Sonbergs and Snakes audiobook was, or maybe sometimes even they have a good reading voice, but then like anything extra like sound effects or voice modulations they try to do suck dick. And then you know what, there's even audiobooks like the Stormlight audiobook where all around it's just good, like good audio quality, good readers, everything.
Good. Yeah, I really like
this Dungeon Crawler Carl's audiobook is the most quality audiobook I've ever had. It just goes above and beyond. The dude, such a good reader, very distinct and good voices for almost every single character. And even then, like, they get kind of spicy with like sound effects and voice modulations, and they don't overdo it. But when they do it, it's really, really good. Or even like, if there's a part in the book where like a crowd is talking in unison, like they'll actually, I think, record it multiple times over and play them all at once, and it sounds like a crowd. Cool. I'm just very, very impressed with the team that put this audiobook together. It's very fun to listen to. Story itself is also very fun, because, you know, it's kind of like, you know, it's very isekai. Well, in a sense, they're still on Earth, but, you know, they're trapped down in this dungeon.
Hello?
Bradley?
No!
Bradley? No!
Let's go! I'm saved!
I think he got pulled into the dungeon.
He got... Oh my god, he doesn't know! He's still talking! Wait. Surely, like... Hold on.
Hopefully he could hear.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am sorry to announce that Bradley has returned. Go on, Bradley.
Yeah, just like, I don't know. For anyone who doesn't remember from when Tyler was talking about the premise, basically aliens show up, like 99% of the Earth dies at once, and under the Earth is turned into this giant dungeon, and if they get to floor 18, they have a chance at saving the Earth. That's basically the premise, and inside the dungeon it plays out like an RPG, very isekai-like. You got levels and classes and stuff, and like, here's the thing. The book is like very upfront about what it is. Like, it doesn't take itself super seriously, and it just kind of has fun with the fact that like it's, you know, acting like a game world, but at the same time they kind of go into, they do some of the work to make this kind of plausible in the world. Like, why would aliens show up and throw people into a dungeon and give them RPG classes? And so they actually kind of do some work explaining like, this has happened elsewhere before, it'll continue to happen. But also, I think what really impressed me about this book is because it kind of doesn't take itself super seriously and leans really hard into just kind of being the like generic gamey isekai thing, it really catches you off guard when the story has actual really good storytelling moments.
That's
this is one of those books where you can feel the writer growing as a writer as you read it, and I kind of find myself like silently congratulating them on sticking beats that I'm like, oh my god, that might have been ambitious for a new writer to do. But like there will be stuff that's played off as a joke early on, and they might do the joke 2 or 3 times. I'm like, okay, that was funny, and then later on you're like, oh, it actually wasn't a joke. That's actually a really important plot element, and it's like the climax right now. I don't know. I think he's really good at laying stuff out, and one thing that kind of has me excited for future books is I feel like Dungeon Crawler Carl has Chekhov's everything. Like they'll like, I want to equip this equipment. And it's like, oh, well, you can equip that, but if you equip that equipment, it'll add you to this faction, which means when you get to floor 8, every single mob will be hostile to you or some shit like that. So there's a bunch of stuff set up for like future floors, whether it's like people we met or items we equipped and stuff like that. Overall, just very, very enjoyable. The only complaint is like the AI can be hit or miss because there's like an AI that runs the dungeon. And it's constantly cracking jokes, and sometimes they're genuinely funny, and sometimes they get an eye roll, and I'm like, but...
Yeah, some of the stuff Tyler was saying, like, he would say all these cool things, and then say something the AI says, and I'd be like, alright, right, I should never read this.
That's the thing. Because, like, for example, I feel like Joe and Willer, y'all would probably like it except for the AI. I feel like y'all might not like the AI as a character, just because of, like, its humor or whatever, but... as like a setting itself, I think it has some really cool things going for it. Also, Tyler, I think my favorite character is Zev. Very hilarious.
Ooh, Zev is a great character. Bradley, something that is interesting but not spoiler.
Yes.
See if you can keep track of it. There is a B plot happening in the movie, happening in the series. The whole time, and it's a huge fucking B plot. It was crazy. I kind of went back and tried to notice some of the foreshadowing, but it's hard because it's only like through the audio book. But it comes into fruition pretty soon. It's really good. I liked it a whole lot.
Hell yeah! I'll keep my eyes out. I'm trying to I can tell this is definitely a series that like rewards keeping track of stuff like that, so I'm trying to absorb as much information as I can, because like for example there will be like they'll fight a boss, and normally after they fight a boss they're allowed to like get all the information about it, like its weaknesses, and then Carl's like, oh, we didn't get that for this boss, I wonder if we're gonna have to fight it again on a lower floor, and you're like, I don't know. So I don't know, good rec. I'm enjoying it.
Everything is a Chekhov's gun.
I shared something in midcast chat for those interested.
I had a thought. I just lost it.
I don't understand.
Well, it doesn't say purchase. It says play.
Oh man, this is great because we moved into our new office and I have to walk to see Bradley.
Yeah.
And Bradley was talking to me about it, and I go, man, I can't wait for the next podcast because as soon as you talk about it, Willer's gonna buy it and read it.
Well, it's convenient timing. I didn't bring it up this podcast because I want to do a whole thing on it next time. I'm 1 hour away from finishing the Count of Monte Cristo.
Oh my god, what a monster!
And I was trying to do it. I was trying to do it before we did this podcast, but you know what? We'll do it next time, for sure, because I'm gonna have plenty of time to listen to it, which might also give me time to start my next audiobook, which may or may not be Carl. I have actually a lot of audiobooks to read.
I also, from y'all discussing it, Reddit has on the Reddit app, they suggest you subreddits, and I eventually came across one called Progression Fantasy.
Oh yeah.
And which was really funny because I was like, what the hell is this? And I click on it, and there's a bunch of someone's talking about oh, there's blah blah blah, initial series. I'm like, I was looking at this, and it was someone who has been growing up in a Spanish speaking household but never learning the Spanish, just recognizing words. I was like, all of these acronyms look familiar, and I realized they were literally all the books the three of y'all fucking read together.
There's not that many. Funny.
Yeah, you were saying Worm and Mother of Learning and shit were on there, and you're
it was and Mother of Learning, Carl, they said MOL, Carl,
Carl one.
Yeah, it was just like what?
What actually sold me is I went to look it up. It's 13 hours. That's why I bought it. I was like, okay.
That's the thing. Like,
Not
it's
bad.
a low barrier to entry. You know, if you don't like it, it has a very quick exit. Willer, I really think I'm confident your least favorite thing is going to be the AI that runs the dungeon.
See, you specifying that I'll like everything but the AI makes me trust that like that's
you're gonna
true.
love the AI, dude.
No, fuck that.
Here's my pitch. By book 3, you're gonna love the AI.
That would be sick.
45 hours into the video game, it gets real good.
Hey,
No.
One Piece gets real good at All Park, bro. You just gotta stick with it.
That is another thing. If you are like at I say this is a give it till the end of book 2. If you're just hating it at the end of 1, absolutely not. But if you're like, oh, is it gonna pick up? Give it till the end of book 2, and it really, I think it does. Because I was feeling iffy at the end of 1. 2 is really where I was like, oh shit, hell yeah.
All right, we'll see. I want to get back to my mystery books, and I've been recommended fantasy shit. God. The Count of Monte Cristo. No, you know what? Save it for next time. I got some controversial takes.
No, dude.
Oh, man. Anyways, yo, we're on track. If this doesn't go too long, to have the shortest podcast in forever, which would be cool.
Way.
We did it.
Because maybe I could see my family after, but it's 2:30. We got one last topic. Let's do it. Scott Pilgrim takes off. Wait.
So,
unless
look.
Tyler was just about to say something. Hold on.
Oh no, I was saying let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. Me and Tyler are the only ones who have seen this.
I've
right?
also seen it.
You've also seen it.
I wanted to,
so
but I got Chucky.
here's the thing. You just kind of can't talk about this without spoiling it.
Yeah.
Because big spoilers in the very first episode.
Yeah.
Whether you have seen any Scott Pilgrim medium or not.
You will be spoiled. I was
so, I
spoiled
don't know.
on it, and I've like read I had all the books, and I've watched the movie multiple times.
I heard that this isn't a retelling. That's all I know.
It is not a retelling.
It's not a retelling.
But
is it a sequel?
The best way to describe it, because it was written by Brian O'Malley, the original creator. The best way to describe it is it's like a canon alternate universe. It's like if this event changed, here's how things would have happened.
Cool.
So I don't know if we just want to say what the difference is.
I'm intrigued.
That's up to Willer if he wants to get spoiled on it.
In any case, I won't say the big spoiler, but I will say this was my first kind of like real introduction to Scott Pilgrim franchise. I'm pretty sure I watched the movie a long time ago.
Yeah, I watched the movie in parts. Like I watched like the first half.
Yeah, because I remembered like the very first fight that happens in the series.
Pilgrim.
For the most part, like this was me being fresh to the series.
Nice.
Really fucking liked it, and I didn't even realize until like episode 3 that it wasn't how the original also goes. But by like episode 3, it's impossible to not know, because okay, I feel like this was a pretty. God, how do you even say this?
There's really no way to say it without. If there's really no way to talk without saying it, then go for it.
So basically, in the very first episode, against the first fight against the first evil ex-boyfriend, Scott loses and dies. Which is why it's called Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. He's not in the show, really.
What?
He fucking leaves.
He fucks up.
Whoa, okay, what?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's like you get to the start of episode 2, and the boyfriend goes to the League of Evil Ex-Boyfriends, and he's like, guys, I beat the boyfriend, and Ramona didn't agree to date me. What do we do? And they're like, I don't know. But like,
so good.
This was my introduction to the series, and so it's like, how is it for a first timer? Like, do you get lost? And I was like, I didn't really feel lost, and I think part of what helps is that one of the characters in this show writes a movie that is the events of the original.
It's the movie that came out.
Yeah, it's the movie that came out. And so, like, for an episode or two, there's like a plot where they're making this movie. So they're doing the plot of the show you're watching while you can also absorb the plot of the original in the background. And I feel like the characters in Scott Pilgrim are really well characterized, because I watched this and I loved it, and then I went to the movie and I even started reading the comics. I'm like halfway through volume 4 out of 6.
4.
And going between all of these, the characters just going from takes off to the other ones. The characters kind of feel like the same characters I met and know and love, and I kind of wanted to see if other people had the same opinions. I watched one guy's review, and he's like, you know, I've been a long time Scott Pilgrim fan, and he watched Takes Off, and he's like, you know, these feel like the same characters, even though this was written so long after the original. He's like, these feel like the same characters reacting believably to different situations, which is nice.
Yeah, I agree.
The coolest thing about it is, if you've never seen Scott Pilgrim, you can start watching this show, and then on like episode 8 or 9, there is a moment in the movie or the show where you can go watch the entire movie, and it makes sense in context of the show,
which was really interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I haven't rewatched. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll like just dead ass, because I haven't rewatched the movie in forever. I'm kind of bummed actually, because here's the thing: Scott in modern times is like, oh, Scott was the villain. Scott's a bad person. It's like society has moved to the point where Scott is like a bad character / annoying character, and I was kind of interested to see a modern take on the character that might like re-cooperate him or like make him age better, like to like modern sensibilities. So I was kind of excited to see how they would handle Scott, and like if he would get good character development and like be a better character for it. Like, I'm not very fond of Scott Pilgrim, but I was really interested in that idea. So I am a little bummed that he's dead, and like I won't get that maybe, but I'll still give it a chance, I guess.
I mean, in the show Scott Pilgrim, or in the movie, they do talk about how big of a piece of shit he is a lot.
I mean, it's kind of like a feature of the story.
Yeah, like even though he's the main character, he's the Ray Kroc of that movie. Like, he is a piece of shit.
See,
they do a really good job at not making him seem like one.
I was excited. I guess I was excited in maybe a take where he's like a little bit less of a piece of shit, and like, I don't know. We'll see.
I still think you should go and watch it, even if you have those reservations.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I consider Takes Off a must watch, and also it won a bunch of awards. I think at the Something Critic Awards, it won Best Animation of the Year. Which, on that note, the animation in this movie is stylish as fucking shit. I was watching one guy review this, and he's like, out of all of the animated fights that I watched on screen this year, he's like, my favorite fights were in Jujutsu Kaisen, but number 2 is definitely Scott Pilgrim.
Nice.
Yeah. I think it's still worth a watch, even with missing out on what you wanted there, Willer. I really do.
I believe it.
And I've read all of Scott Pilgrim. Like, I read it as the comics were coming out. Like, I sat there in anticipation for book 5 to come out and for book 6 to come out. And I want to get the colored versions eventually as well. I really like Scott Pilgrim. And it was kind of like that early kind of like late high school, early like college years kind of reading that I was doing. Essentially, and I really like this. Like, I'm gonna be real honest. I was kind of upset the first episode because I was like, I really wanted to just see the same story again, and just like have like, because when the movie came out, book 5 like just got released, and the guy like was in the process of outlining like book 6. Like, that's how like far in advance the movie was like being made, essentially. Wow. So like the ending of that movie is like very different from what like the ending of the actual story came to be. So I just wanted to see like what the actual ending. But I think this does an even better version of like exploring those characters and that feeling of like going through a relationship and like what it means and what the end of a relationship has on the impact on the rest of your friends and how they look at you and how you look at yourself and everything like that. I think Scott Pilgrim is still a good story in either medium. I think the movie version is like the inferior version of all 3. but that's just me.
But no, I know what you mean. Scott Pilgrim feels like a very good way of like using very just over the top anime-ish action to tell like very grounded, just like having to grow and mature stories between people living in Canada.
It's tough out there.
It is tough out there. But yeah, but like as someone that's like that's been following Scott Pilgrim since it was a comic and like was an original comic fan, I really enjoyed it a lot. I recommend.
And also, what's badass, they got all of the voices from the movie to come back and do the animated show. And it's so cool. Apparently, Brian O'Malley said that he had messaged the cast of the original movie to ask them if they wanted to voice this show. And he said before the end of the day, he got yeses from everyone.
That's insane, because one of them is Chris Evans, aka Captain America. It's one of the ex-boyfriends, and he's kind of like
Chris Evans.
Yeah, like he's much higher on the totem pole in Hollywood than he was when he took that role.
I mean, he's not a Captain America right now, so I'm sure he
He's
doesn't
not.
mind. He's kind of in shitty Netflix movies right now because we don't really have movie stars anymore. People go to movies to see characters, so it's like he's kind of got to pick up gigs now. So that's cool.
Talking about Chris Evans though, or even all the actors, because I was in my hyperfixation phase where I'm like, I gotta absorb everything Scott Pilgrim. And I'm watching like celebrity interviews, and like Michael Cera and Chris Evans were like, that was the most fun fucking movie I've ever made. Chris Evans was like, he's like, I was only one of the ex-boyfriends, and they filmed my scenes pretty early on, but even then, he's like, even when there was nothing left for me to film, he's like, I would just go back to the set because that was just like the most fun group of people to hang out with.
Oh, that's so sweet. I mean, plus Aubrey Plaza was there, and I'm sure that helped a lot.
Yeah, probably.
And Anna Kendrick.
And Jason Schwartzman.
Yeah, well, all equally attractive women.
Yeah, especially Jason Schwartzman.
Yeah.
Scott Pilgrim Take Off. Really, really good. Maybe we'll have a more in-depth conversation when Willard watches it. But yeah,
I'm down for that. I'm down for a part 2.
But
all right, y'all. It's time for the Roundabout Cast to take off. And by everybody
buy Toriko.
And by that, I guess I mean it dies in episode 1. So.
Rip.
Bye-bye.
Oh well. Bye.